think we live just like that. Popped us right, kicked us right in there. Let's get this show started then.
Beer runs the licks. My heart was made, dog, with every single brick. Legend in my own. Herpes. Beer runs the licks. My heart was made, dog, with every single brick.
Hold on a second. Shit's all jacked up. Let's do it like this. Check 1 2 1 2.
Can I get a moment of your time? Smoke a little, life's a game of chess. Drugs, guns, who just got me on the run? Let me shine a little light. Can I get a moment of your time? Smoke a little, life's a game of chess. Drugs, guns, who just got me on the run? Let me shine a little light. I grew up on the 50s, I love my whole city. Got the little ones with me, I ain't going back to prison. House with a yard, I get my own unlocks, I walk my own yard. I'm Figaro and filthy, where I come from, dog, everybody's filthy. Get your hands dirty with them concrete burpees. Beer runs the licks, my heart was made, dog, with every single brick. Legend in my own, I get my little shine on. Got a house loan, I see a hater smiling, broke with a mouth full. Run with my ninjas, used to gun with my ninjas, used to split top ramens on the hood with my ninjas. Can I get a moment of your time? Smoke a little, life's a game of chess. Drugs.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yes, we are live. Let's just jump right into this shit. Let's just jump right into this. Today, as I speak, history is being written. The U.S. has elected our 46th president, Joseph R. Biden. If you like it or not, Trump is done on this rainy day in Southern Califas. May I repeat, or should I repeat it? It might hurt some of you guys, you know what I mean? Me personally, I can give a fuck, you know? But for some reason, this weather fits the script on this historic day. Yes. And that's just the fact that it's been scorching fucking hot outside and a little water on the fire for the cool off feels good. I mean, it's been hot. It's been hot on a lot of different levels, right?
Yep.
A lot of levels. It's been hot. Tempers have been hot. The concrete has been hot. I mean, my temperament has been cool. It isn't, I haven't been affected by this fucking shit, you know what I mean? But I've been affected by the heat because I've been outside working like a motherfucking slave. But anyways, this is how I combined it. This shit right here. You see what I'm doing? Genius! No, I'm just playing. I'm sorry. I had a long day today at school. I did 8 hours of school today. Bear with your boy right here. We are going to have a good night. And I see everybody tapping in already. I love you motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Already tapping in. I love you guys, man. Hoodstocks Podcast is sponsored by, you know who? Okay, hold on. Let's get serious. Hoodstocks Podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. For those that Manscaped, a.k.a. keep your shit clean. And I mean, anyways. Manscaped has made the perfect clipper for your body. No nicks, no cuts. Manscaped.com. Use promo code Hoodstocks and get free shipping and 20% off. All right, there it is there. I ain't even fucking with Manscaped. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave it at that. I've been doing a little crazy shit. Talking about my girl can see her fucking reflection on my nuts while she's down there. And anyways, you know what I mean? Enough of all that shit. Okay.
Let me get that.
Hey, Manscaped.com. Hey, Hoodstocks. Promo code Hoodstocks. You know what I mean? That helps the podcast out, guys. You know that. You know what I mean? It's a little pricey, though. Not everybody, you know what I mean? But I guarantee you guys that this clipper, and they sell other things as well for your nose if you got them hairy ears. You know what I mean? I don't know how many 85-year-old men are watching this podcast, but if you are watching this, they got the whacker, the weed whacker, they call it, for the ears and the nostrils and shit. I mean, let me slow down, man. It's been a fucking crazy day. Okay, let me ask you, what's a problem? A problem is an opportunity, right? An opportunity to solve that problem. kind of a different way of looking at it, right? At a problem. Some people are problem solvers and some people are problem makers. Yeah, you motherfuckers right there. I personally have had my share of the both. Today, this man had a huge problem on his hands. 14 years in prison. After he served his bid, it gave homie the greatest opportunity of his life. And that, my Goonies, is a clean slate in life. To live life to his greatest potential, change, evolution, maximizing his existence, solving the problem, which was, we'll get into that. Out of 805, the Goleta projects. I want you all to give it up for the homie, Derty. Let's go. How you doing, G?
I'm good, man.
I mean, it was a little rough getting in here. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just like, it's a smooth transition, but today it was just like a little rocky, bro. I was hitting on the dips and shit, dog. You know what I mean? But like I told you coming in, bro, I mean, we all have our, sometimes Saturdays are meant to be cool, man. I hate when motherfuckers fuck up my Saturday on some school shit. You got to come to school for 8 hours, you know? How you doing?
Shit, I got homework due at midnight, so
Okay.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I mean, you're not that ball headed. I mean, you're not. I mean, out of all the ball headed Mexicans out there, bro, with UCLA hoodies on.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the one that is actually doing UCLA homework.
I actually go there, yeah, and I got homework due, and but I like it. I like it. I like that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's. I mean, you like just having the challenge. You just like doing homework. I mean, it keeps you out of the bullshit. I mean, you are expanding your horizon with your education, correct?
Yeah. The way I see it is like those are good problems. You know, I've had like fucked up problems, and the homies from my hood, they know what's up. They know the type of problems that I've been in. You know,
Yeah.
A lot of that shit that me and the homie went through, which we'll get into, was the type of shit where like your picture's on the news.
Yeah.
Like all the time, and people already see you as like, oh shit, there's that fucking guy, there's that killer, there's that fucking that gang member. Like, you know, you're fucked. Once your shit's on the news and your picture's just blasted everywhere, like your life is done. As long as that's how I saw it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But now it's just like these are good problems.
Yeah.
Needing to do homework at midnight, I can handle that shit. Shit can get a lot worse.
100%, dog. I mean, how good does it feel to go to sleep at night and not flinching at every little thing you might hear outside? Oh shit, what the fuck was that? Looking out the blinds, or you know what I mean? Just being paranoid, bro. You know. And I'm not saying that you high paranoid, but you're paranoid because, you know what I mean? You know, I mean, how good does it feel to sleep these days, bro? The peace of mind, right?
Well, something else that we can get into later is that shit, because a lot of people still living that life. You know, I lived that life too, where you're peeping out the blinds and think the FBI's coming and shit because you've been up for 3 days or some shit, you know. But it feels good. It feels good to not live that shit. You know, to be sober is fucking awesome. To be out of prison is even fucking better. But I'm still taking it one day at a time, just like all the big homies would say. You know, take it one day at a time.
One day at a time, 100%, my G. Let's talk about this before we get into, you know what I mean? Your story, bro, which is you guys are gonna love this story right here. I'll tell you this right here. You guys are gonna love this story. You know what? Sometimes, just everything that is going on, the climate that we're in, right? The climate, I mean, it's over with now, and now we're starting some new climate with the new presidency and Biden and me personally, bro. I don't care for neither, right? But I'm not mad that Trump took an L on this one right here, because all his life, he has been given everything he wanted. Everybody around him, if you weren't a yes sir, yes, Trump, Mr. Trump, yes, Donald, then you were fired, homie.
Yeah.
This dude is used to getting his way, bro.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you like this, people, you know what? Check it out. Before we get into the politics of the shit about, he let these people out of prison, or he was good for the rich people, you know what I mean? They worried about their taxes, right? You know, but first, let's get down to the individual right here. You know what I mean? Now, this individual right here made white supremacy, and people are going to debate me all day. It's not a debate. This is just how I feel. It's not a debate. But I feel like people were walking around with Trump shirts and fucking what is his name? Robert E. Lee, the Confederate, of the Confederate Army. You had them flags out, bro. You know what I mean? And what do those flags represent, bro? Those flags represent racism. Those flags represent pro-slavery, dog. You know what I mean? People weren't voting against Trump, they were voting against all these fucking people right here, bro. They were showing their fucking ass, bro. Yeah. You know, because homie, this has been wild, bro.
Yeah, it's been sick, and then I'm really like, you know, I'm really glad that we're back to the good old racism that I was, you know, raised with, because
the one that's not 100% in your face,
the one that's not 100% in your face.
Yeah,
it's still there.
It's still there,
but at least like my kid doesn't see it, because you know when children, you know, see it and it's blatantly in their face, you know, it's an even bigger problem. You know
what I ask myself? I you know what, bro? I am my worst critic. I am. Nobody's in my head like myself, right? Yeah. This normal, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, and I ask myself, who are we? I mean, better yet, who am I, dog? You know what I mean? You know, I'm someone functioning within my class, bro. Within my class, homie. Mm-hmm. You know, and as we grow, sometimes we go to the next level, bro, you know, of class, you know, and as we grow, I mean, we'll remember them old times of how it used to be, but now we're functioning on another level, bro. I might be getting a little off track of what I'm trying to get to, bro, but I'm the 40-year-old dude, bro, that had to ask a 20-year-old fucking kid on how fucking politics work, dog. You know, what is the electoral vote? What is this? How does it actually work? You know, what whoa. You know what I mean? And why am I doing that? Because I was raised in a certain class that we had a different curriculum. You know, right. That wasn't the curriculum, bro, of how we know how other politics works, bro. Right. You know, so here I am, a 40-year-old fucking dude, bro, asking my coworkers, bro, like, homie, like, and they're looking at me like, bro, you don't know how this shit works. And I'm like, no, I don't, dog. You know, and they put me up on game. But what I'm trying to get at though is these people in the office, bro. I mean, they think they might know what some people are going through, but if they've never been there, they don't know.
Yeah.
Now I can go ahead and say that probably Trump doesn't know how it is to be without. So how can I relate with you, bro? Why? Because you let a couple cats out of prison, or because you know, this and that, whatever. You know, I'm just saying though, when it comes to being relatable, like I'm not saying that I relate with Joe Biden, because I don't, bro. You know, Kamala Harris, she's a San Francisco district attorney, homie, that was fucking hanging motherfuckers, dog, for nickel bags, homie, of weed, dog. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she climbed the political ladder, bro, by fucking being cutthroat and being the biggest snake in the grass, bro. So the next 4 years now, bro, I don't think they're gonna last the 4 years, bro. They gotta do something crazy, bro. You know what I mean? Because I think what we need, bro, is we might need like a fucking we might need like a George Lopez in the office. We might need like an Oprah Winfrey, dog. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah, I can't call it, man.
I mean, how do you feel with
what
politics?
I can say is that I would trip out a lot on like people that back up like the last president, right? There's a new president now. Well, he's still president, but you know, I would really wonder like how are people even seeing themselves in this guy who's probably never worked a hard day in his life. And what I'm talking about is a lot of hardworking, you know, either working class or middle class, like white people. How do they see them in this guy that's never worked like a hard day in his life? You know, he's never gotten his hands dirty. I can bet like he's never even fucking gone to buy groceries. That's like an experience that he's probably never even had. And how do you relate to that? How do you put yourself in back of somebody like that? How do you back them up like to? Because if you look at the voting, it's like it's split. You know, he barely won. Like Biden won, but he barely won. You know, and for like most of the night, that first night, I was like, damn, this fool's getting smashed. You know, before they started counting all the votes that people actually did, like, you know, in the mail and stuff like that. You know, I was like, damn, this fool's getting fucked up. And then now that they got all the votes in, he barely beat him. And so like now you see like an even divide. And to me that's problematic. That's like a really big problem that he's gonna have to like deal with. The new president.
Yeah, he's got some shit to sort out, most definitely, bro. I mean, they put Donald Trump in the White House, bro. You know, and you know what? I'll give his parents, because his parents are originally from Germany. They migrated to New York. They tried to go back to Germany, but they didn't. Germany kicked him out because his great grandfather tried to dodge a war. You know what I mean? And so they said, nah, fool, get the fuck out of here, you know? But his great grandparents were fucking hustlers, bro. They fucking laid the fucking, I think it's in his DNA, bro, that they got a mind for business, you know what I mean? And that's what they did generation after generation in the Trump family, bro. They opened up a barbershop. And then when next thing you know, they're cutting hair, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to be cutting this hair. This is his grandfather. I need to be the one in this chair. And these, you know what I mean? So they built and built and built. So when it came to Donald Trump, bro, they gave him a motherfucking, like, it was just given to him, bro. Mm-hmm. They threw him the keys. Yeah. Like, just keep it moving, you know? And once that ball's rolling and that shit's that big, bro, you know what I mean? You know, it's gonna like that snowball effect, you know what I mean? It's just gonna get bigger, bro, you know? Yeah. And I mean, when you're deep rooted into business for so many fucking generations, bro, you have so many plugs and you know so many people, and the name is, you know, bop. But anyways, yeah, you know, shout out to his family for giving him a great life. But what I'm getting at though, bro, is, all right, I'm an electrician, bro. You know what I mean? For the past month, I've been digging in dirt. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, it's like putting me in an office with it may not be the best example, bro, but it's like putting me in the office to manage an office, a bunch of females and preppy dudes and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's probably not gonna, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be very good. You know, it's not gonna be a smooth transition. You know what I mean? I might hit, you know, I might be coming off a little strong or something. You know. But I mean, the wrong person for the wrong position. I mean, if you're in politics, it's a dirty game all around, bro. I don't know what the fuck, dog. This is just a dirty fucking game, dog. And it's all I know, bro, is I'm in the class that I'm in. Who do I relate to? I relate to people that are in my class, and I relate to, you know, other people as well that I want to, you know, level up to, or I want to, you know, we have dreams, we have ambitions that we want to, you know, get to. But anyways, enough of that shit, bro. You know, enough of that.
One thing I will say though is like you had mentioned that that you didn't know what the electoral vote was and stuff like that, right?
I didn't, bro. The popular vote, like I was like, what, with the we win the popular vote. What the fuck is a popular vote? You know?
And I think a lot of times when people like, you know, that look like us, you know, that are of color, they're black or brown. Yeah. They don't know about those things because I think it might even be systematic. There's like
Yeah.
a reason why you don't know that. It's not because of you. It's not because you are like a dumb person. It's because the system has decided for you not to have that knowledge.
And so we need to reevaluate the curriculum that our kids are being raised in, bro.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, what would be you know, they're teaching the kids.
They'll teach you how to play football.
Yeah.
You know, they'll teach you how to do landscaping.
Yeah.
But you know, when it comes to those types of things, oh no, this is not for you. You know, where they don't even teach it in the schools. You know, they might teach it in private schools, prep schools. You know, the debate team, whoever wanted to be in the debate team, like what type of, you know, where and when in any hood was there a debate team, and that's where like you start to learn how to like do those type of things with the politics and all that stuff. They don't want you to know that stuff. You know, as a minority. As a person, you know, and I really hate that word, but it's like, it's basically what they're saying is there's less of you, there's more of us. The majority, there's a lot more white people than any other race in this country. And it might be systematic. They might not want you to know that knowledge.
I mean, what would be some, you know, do you have kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a 14-year-old.
Okay, so if it was up to you, to choose your kids' curriculum coming up, let's give and there was 5 classes. What 5 classes are you gonna give your kids?
No, that's a hard one, but you're probably gonna
the simple reading, math.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how the system.
They have a, what do you call it? Like when they just use the word, when they use a letter to, like, you know, I noticed in the comments that you had before leading up to this, somebody mentioned STEM, right? Which is what is that even? Science, technology,
stem cells,
engineering, mathematics.
Cells? Yeah,
okay. No. STEM is like like certain classes that they give kids, especially at LA Unified.
Okay.
Yeah, and it stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know, they added a letter to that. They added an A, so it's STEAM now because A is for arts. Because they've realized that the arts are just as important. Because for a while they weren't. For a while it was just called STEM. Now it's called STEAM, and those are probably the 5 that I would want him to study.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there should be some type of basic politics. I mean, we live in a world. We should understand how the world works. Politics, you know what I mean? The good and the bad, the gray, all that shit. You know what I mean? All the areas. It's not something. So this is something that we're talking on the fly. It's not something that I really wrap my mind around, bro. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little slower, bro.
Yeah, no, I think I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, but I really wanna. I'm gonna think about this one, bro, and I'm gonna think about, you know, what I'd want my kids to learn, bro, because there's possibly some things that they are spending too much time on that is gonna do nothing for them, bro. I mean, so I'm in my 4th year in the union, electrician unit, right? Uh-huh. And they teach us so much shit, bro, that we will never use out on the field. You know, maybe as an engineer or maybe on another level, but that's another class you got to take to get to that. You know, maybe it will prep you. I guess everything has they give you a little something for everything. So you're not, so you're familiar if you ever get hit with it. I get it to a certain point, but I just, even to the school that I'm into right now, like I'm telling you, bro, sometimes I just don't understand, like, bro, we're not going to use this shit. You know, what the fuck are we spending so much time on? And that trickles down to the whole entire education system. You know what I mean? Sometimes you spend a lot of time on something. I mean, people should learn how to do public speaking. I think public speaking is important, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you ever have to go in front of an employer for a potential job, yeah. I mean, you need to know how to fucking, you know, speak publicly, yeah. How to represent yourself, how to sell yourself, yeah. You know what I mean? But then again, life of what is our existence? About 85 years, 90 years if we're lucky, bro. You know what I mean? I guess life gives you enough time for trial and error. You know, trial and error. All right, you fucked that up, big dog. You know what I mean? You could have got that good job, but you learned. You pick yourself up. You know what I mean?
Life gives you a sack of lemons.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know that Aaliyah song, pick yourself up and dust yourself off and try again, something like that. I don't know if I hit that note right. You know what I mean? But anyways, dog.
Well, that leads that is a good point you made, because one of the requirements when you're taking even college classes in community college is speech, and that is, you know, leading up to public speaking, right, where you got to speak in front of people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the classes one of the first classes I took when I was locked up was speech. When I was at Ironwood, we had the community college in the area was coming in onto the campus, and they were offering college courses.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the first classes that I ever took in college was speech. And you know, you see homies right there, and you know that they don't want to do this shit. Yeah. You know, and then it comes to what you said about, you know, it's not something that's offered in class, especially in classes at the LA Unified School District, where, you know, you're kind of getting the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately.
I mean, communication is huge, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pyro T Bean 100. Matt, thank you for the $2. Thank you for a couple other donations right there too. Thank you very much. Love you guys, dog. I see you at the corner of my eye and shit, for sure. You know what, bro? Communication is huge, bro.
Yeah.
I think communication should be right there with math, bro.
Yeah.
I think math is huge. You know what I mean? You need to learn how to calculate. You learn your brain wraps itself around formulas, then it's easier to figure out life lessons before you hit that lesson, possibly because your brain is already operating a certain way. You know what, bro? I have lived a life full of stupidity, dog. I am far from the sharpest tool in the fucking shed, dog, you know? But I strive every day, bro, to sharpen up that dull blade, dog, you know what I mean? Because I know where I lack. I know my lacking, bro, you know? But anyways, what I'm saying is back to communication, bro. Communication is huge because there are so many problems, bro, that arise from not being able to communicate.
Yeah.
You're fighting with your old lady right now. You could have had a simple conversation and talked this shit out, but you don't know how to communicate.
Right.
The homie just got shot. Why? Because he didn't know how to communicate. I mean, you know, just throwing a fucking stupid ass example. And that's not a stupid example, but anyways, bro, communication is fucking huge, bro. We need to learn how to communicate. We need to learn how to talk to someone without losing our head. Why do we lose our head? The temper goes through the roof. Why? Because we are not educated enough to put the words together to get our point across. So instead it's like, nah, fuck that, dog. Nah, homie, you know what? Fuck you. Because that's so much easier to say, dog.
Yeah.
That's so much easier. You know what, homie? Well, fuck you then. What's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it can go back to like, even like, you go back to even like the root of it all, which is just fear, right? Fear of like communicating. Fear and shame of like expressing yourself in that kind of way, because, you know, I spent like a lot of time in these environments where like the male, you know, the male masculine toxicity was like through the roof, right? You don't go into prison and like want to talk about your feelings with nobody, right? And you end up just like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna talk about my feelings, but I'll punch you in the face, you know, or you know. You can see the most of the guys that are hurting the most are probably the ones that are putting in the most work. You know, the guys that are boo-bopping everybody, the fools that are fucking going to the back all the time, those are the fools that are probably the most hurt. You know? And I know because I went to the back a bunch of times for fucking people up because I was scared. You know, I was just a scared like little boy, you know? And I needed to like express it, and I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I ended up just like, you know, raising my hand, you know, I want to go on this mission. I want to go on this mission, you know, and stuff like that. Like for a while, like I didn't really like know how to like get it off my chest. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Fear, dog. To this day, dog, I have so many fears within myself. But before this day or this chapter in my life, shout out to everybody dropping masculinity, toxicity, Pyro, thank you. Creekus, 499. What's local? Local 11, brother. You know what I mean? LA, local 11. IBEW. Thank you, bro, for the donation. Fear, bro. Fear. Whew, that's such a fucking... Fear has been my fucking detriment, bro. You know? Through a lot of years, and especially raising the gang culture. Now, we try not to project that fear, but inside we feel the fear and we react to our fear by our actions, our reactions. What kind of reaction? That was a fearful reaction. You know what I mean? You know, violence is a fearful action.
Yeah.
Violence is a fearful action. Fear is such a deep definition, and especially in the certain boroughs, certain communities, certain areas, South Central, East LA. You know what I mean? Fear. A lot of us don't like to talk about our fears. I have many fears. They just make it embarrasses me almost, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, I can't, like, fuck, I don't want to do that shit. You know what I mean? But I can't say I don't want to do that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know? We can go really deep with this fear shit, dog. But anyways, let's thank you everybody tapping in. Yep, fear. That's how where homies from. They're asking where you from, G.
Oh yeah, I'm from Goleta. That's in the 805 area, Santa Barbara County. But yeah, like that. Those are the types of things that you really get you get deep into, especially when you end up in places like AdSeg or Shoot Term. You know, you end up needing to face like yourself. You know, and a lot of the homies there, like in the back, like that are lifers. That never gonna get a chance to like express like, you know, the wisdom that they have. You know, they let you hear it. You know, they really put a mirror in front of you and let you see, you know, who you really are. You know, a lot of times we don't want to see who we are. You know,
a lot of times we don't want them to see who we are,
and you don't want them to see who you are.
Yeah, because once they see the fear, what happens in those concrete jungles? They're gonna prey on your fear. And you'll get victimized by your own vulnerability or your own fearfulness.
No, I think some of the biggest issues that end up coming out of it is that you bring that shit home with you. You know, after you get out, you bring that shit home with you. Not only do you go in with it, but now that you've been kind of exposed, and when I say like fear, I'm talking about at a level where you get to a point where you're like, hey man, I don't want to whack no one no more. Like, I'm good. Like, ask somebody else. What the fuck you keep asking me for? You know, that right there is like, you're not like really showing fear. You're just like, what the fuck? Why ain't you asking somebody else? You know, you keep asking me. Like, but you hit kind of like a point where like, you're like, how deep am I really going to get in this shit? And that's where kind of like, where I felt like I hit like rock bottom, where like I kind of felt like, shit, like I'm never gonna fucking get out of here if I keep doing this shit, you know?
I've been in situations in the penitentiary where I had to ask myself, fuck, am I really in the hardest times in my prison stint? I had to ask myself at times, am I really for this right here? Because of the fear I felt within myself and how deep I was going, bro. Mm-hmm. I've been into some situations where I was like, don't trip, dog, I got this. Whoa, 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 ba, ba, ba. But in my inside of myself, I'm scared, bro. I'm fearful, low key. I'm like, I'm gonna do it, dog.
Yeah, no, you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do this shit, dog. But inside, bro, that scared little boy is like fucking my heart. You know what I mean? My fucking, you know what I mean? My anxiety, bro, is going through the roof. Then adrenaline is fucking racing. I'm questioning myself. I'm like, but fuck it, I gotta do this. You know what I mean? If I don't do this, then and then I know what's on the other end of that. Don't do it. You know? I've been in them situations. You know? I've been pulled out, AdSeg cell, sprayed down, you know, with fucking mace and whatnot from handling a cellie and shit, dog. And I was going into the cell and everybody was giving me one of these when I was going to the oil, and they were saying that the dude was no good. And the Huda asked me, dog, the Huda said it. They said, hey, Kolos, you good? We squash this move out right now, because they've seen the homies and AdSeg going like this as I'm getting escorted to the fucking cell, and the dude's in front of me going first and shit. You know what I mean? And I told the dude, like, nah, I'm good, homie. I said, you ain't got to squash out nothing, bro. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But inside, bro, you know what I mean? I was feeling very, I was fearful, but confident that I was gonna warrior shit, homie. I'm gonna handle this shit, and it's either me or him, and it's not gonna be me. I'm gonna give everything that I got. That it's not fucking me, dog. You know what I mean? And I've come out of situations, dog, where I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? Fuck am I doing here, bro? Am I really made for this shit? I mean, I just did this shit, but fuck, you know what I mean? How much more of this, you know what I mean, am I willing to take, or am I willing to go, you know, for this cause, for this persona that I'll say it, that I'm pretending to be? Because I mean, deep inside, I'm fearful. I'm a scared boy that's like, but at the end of the day, nah, fuck that. I'm down, dog. You get what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, and that's like not even outlining like the fear I think that most people would think about when you say fear, like, because that's that outline. That's like outlining an even deeper, like an even deeper type of like fear, you know? And that's like the fear of like not being accepted by the community.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like that can also be, you know, it may not sound like a fear, but it's definitely something that people think about, like how much do I want these other people to know like how down I am.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of shit can get you into even deeper shit.
Yeah, rejection is fear. You know what I mean? Like my peers, they're gonna think Lucky's a punk. That fool ain't with it. Woo woo woo. Blah blah blah. But I fear that. I fear that you're gonna think that. So I'm so fearful about that fuck that. I'm gonna fucking handle this shit. I mean, fear is on so many different levels and different angles, bro. You know what I mean?
I think the worst part about it is they might not even be thinking that. Like you're just tripping. You're convincing yourself of that shit.
Yeah.
They might not even be thinking that shit. And when you do some shit, they'll be like, "Fuck, he really did that shit." It's like they weren't even on that same tip.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of like where you can really wreck yourself. And I'm not talking about with the homies. I'm talking about wreck your life.
Your life.
You know, I caught my second strike in prison for doing shit like that. You know, and but I learned. You know, luckily I ended up meeting the homies that, you know, a lot of people think that prison is just all predators and prey, you know, and it's not. A lot of homies, like, they care. You know, they want to see you succeed. They don't want to see you, like, there with them. You know, you may think that, but it's not true. A lot of lifers would do anything to, like, get that second opportunity to come out. But a lot of them, you know, when you start to really think about it, like, damn, these fools are going to die in here. I'm just passing through. I got a date. It may not be for a while, but I'm just a visitor right here. You know, this is their house. Like they're gonna die in one of these cells one day, and that's kind of like where like I really like had the fortune of really like trying to like switch up my mentality. You know.
You know, I want to give a shout out to all the homies that are doing time right now. I want to give a shout out to because a lot of homies in the pen watch this. Across California, across the U.S. I want to give a shout out to the homies that are doing time, and I just want to send you guys love and respect and keep your heads up, and I mean, if there's ever anything that I can do for you, reach out to me. You know what I mean? If I can drop you $20, I got you. You know what I mean? I always try to show love because I don't ever forget where I came from. You know what I mean? But just because I came from that doesn't mean that's where I'm going. You know what I mean? Because I'm going the other direction. You know. But I feel for the homies that are just still locked in them cages, bro. That, like you said, that are gonna die in that fucking cell. I would think about that sometimes too, bro. When I'd be on the yard and there would be some old timers right there, bro. And they were like, yeah, that dude's washed up. And sometimes and I've been in some yards too where these old timers would have heart attacks in their cell, bro. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, they'd lock the yard down. We'd be in our cells and they'd be like, damn, that's the OG over there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? He's having health issues. You know what I mean? And I've been in yards where dudes have died in their cell, you know? And wow, that's just, it's just fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, even though, you know, the big percentage of us put ourselves in those situations, you know, if we would have, and like you said, if they can get that back, they would have made a better decision of doing the opposite of what put them in there, you know. A big part of me having this podcast is to have individuals like yourself, bro, tell their story, and cats that haven't thrown their life 100% away yet can possibly maybe learn from some of Hoodstock's guests of what not to do and what to do. You know, I always say we're not glorifying this shit, but them dudes that are locked in there forever, man, them dudes are fucking soldiers. They warriors, you know what I mean? Like their life is, you know, their life is, I won't say over with because they're continue to live their life in there, you know, they're living their best life in there, you know, but I just want to show love, give love and respect to the ones that are still in there, you know what I mean? Keep your head up and, you know, anyways, bro. Nah, I feel for it. I have a heart, bro, you know what I mean? And I feel for these cats, dog, you know what I mean, that will never see the light of freedom again, bro. Yeah. You know, and that's just that's a crazy thing to be in that environment and know that you have a date, but they don't have a date. Right. You know what I mean? And I've seen so many homies pop off at cats like that sometimes, bro. And it's just like, bro, like chill the fuck out, homie. You know what I mean? Like, you know, chill. These fools, you going home. This fool ain't going home, bro. Yeah. You know, oh, he getting at you over something like that. Well, just give him that, bro. You know, but I mean, in this jungle of fucking animals and shit, and everybody's trying to be the fucking bigger fucking animal in this jungle. You know what I mean? Sometimes fools just, you know, pop off. And anyways, bro, it's just, it's a fuck situation, dog. But let's get into your story, dog. Yeah. Let's get into your story, brother. You know, you did the beginning. Yeah, let's start from the end. Let's start. let's start wherever you want to start, brother. All right. You know, because you went in, you did a bunch of time, bro, and somehow, some way, you had the strength within yourself to get about that environment and never look back. And here you are now, getting ready to graduate this December, correct? Right. With a bachelor's degree from UCLA, dog. And that is huge, dog. And we are here to celebrate you, bro. But not only do we want to celebrate you, but we want to know how you got there, bro. You know what I mean? Okay. The journey, brother. Yeah. So, yeah, they call me Derty, you know. My real name's Alberto. They call me Berto. The homies call me Berto. I'm majoring in art and minoring in visual and performing arts education. Just to get like a little academic with you. Like I'll be graduating from UCLA in fall of 2020, which is it ends in December. We're actually like halfway through the quarter already. Quarters are only 10 weeks, but they're hard 10 weeks. So I'll be graduating and I'll be applying to like all the big ones, you know, Yale, Brown, MIT, Columbia, USC, Stanford, like a gang of them. Yeah. I had gotten accepted to an art school out here by Magic Mountain called Cal Arts, but they wanted too much money. I ain't got no money.
You know, I ain't got shit.
How are you paying for this UCLA?
Full scholarship.
Full school.
It's called the Blue and Gold Scholarship. They pay for everything. They pay for my tuition, and they give me money for housing. Fortunately, you know, besides that, you can apply for grants. You can apply for financial aid, such as the Cal Grant, the FAFSA, all that stuff. Like, if anyone's out there interested, you get at me. I can run it down for you. Yeah, there's so many opportunities out there. It's not just like, oh man, like UCLA is too expensive. It's like, you know, if you got what it takes, you'll make it. You'll make it work for you. So they pay for everything, and they give me money for housing too. So, yeah,
that's dope, bro.
That's where I'm at right now.
And so you said it's called the Blue and Gold?
Yeah, the Blue and Gold Scholarship.
And
yeah.
And how did you get that scholarship? I'm sorry.
You apply for it.
You apply for it
when you apply for. It applies to all UCs.
Okay.
Which is the University of California, which includes Berkeley, UCLA, UCSB, all the UCs. At that time, I had applied to Berkeley too, and I got accepted to Berkeley, but that shit's too far. Got nothing but love for my people in the Bay, but you're kind of far. You know, I chose to go to UCLA because when I went to UCLA to visit the campus, I ended up running into some homies that were part of the Underground Scholars Initiative, which is the student org that I'm a part of. And I really just like wanted to be in the area, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, well, congrats on that, brother.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Salud.
Salud, everybody.
This is like my third one. I had this cup, but, you know, that shit's good, you know? Want to apologize to my wife if I show up all fucked up. Nah.
Just blame it on me. It's Lucky's fault. So you let's go back when you caught when you caught this case.
Yeah. So around the early 2003, I had gotten caught up with one of my good homies, my carnal, Big Hoser, who's in Pelican Bay right now, doing life. We had got caught up for a muerte, right? The 187. And, you know, I'm not going to elaborate too much on that because, you know, he's still got an appeal. He's still got possibilities for an appeal and all kinds of other stuff. I'm not going to, really get into any type of details. Just had got caught up for a murder. During the course of the trial, our trials got separated. They tried him. He got found guilty. And then at his trial, he cut me loose. I'm not gonna explain what that means. If you know what that means, then you know what it means. If not, then I'm not gonna explain that. He cut me loose at his trial, and they dropped the murder on me, and they had me plead guilty to all kinds of other shit though. Where I got caught. I had 9 ounces of dope. I had a couple pounds of chronic. At the time, like weed was just like still illegal,
yeah.
And you can still get a lot of time for having it, especially really good shit. And at the time, I had some really good shit. Like, a lot of people didn't, like, I would tell them what the strain was, and they'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'm serious. This shit's called AK-47. They're like, shut the fuck up. You're making this shit up. I'm like, I'm serious, man. This is, there's certain strains and shit. And this was a while ago. It's like early 2000s. So a lot of people weren't really up on that yet. But I had, I got caught up with a lot of weed, a lot of coke. And they stacked the gang of charges on me. So a gang of like stolen property. We were just going around. We were fucking up. We were just going around, just stealing everything in sight. And they stacked a bunch of charges on me. I ended up pleading guilty to 12 years at the time.
12 years, okay.
12 years, and at that time they gave me halftime. So it was like, for me, it was like love. Because the DA, some shit happened. I'm not gonna really go through that kind of shit, but some shit happened, and the DA gave me a deal. He's like, plead guilty to this shit, and I had to plead guilty for the gang enhancement, which is a fucked up charge if anyone's ever had it, because it's always on there now. I had to apply. I had to go and like register as a gang member. I had to register as a narcotics offender. Like, I got this like fucked up history,
That never goes away.
No. I think
mean,
if
when
you
you get
discharge, you can like do an expungement, but
it only expunges it from employers to see it, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
If they do a live scan on you, it'll pop up.
It'll pop
a live
up.
scan is like a lot of employers actually do live scans now, which is like the FBI like sends them all the info they have on you.
Yeah.
I had to do that because, recently I'm part of a program at UCLA called the Prison Education Project, and we go into the juvenile facility at Silmar. It's called Barry J. Neerdorf, and we do art workshops and we take classes with the kids there. We try to like elevate them up. We don't teach them. We take a class with them, and we also do a class at the California Institute for Women and in Corona. So that's where they did a live scan on me, and as long as you don't have no fucked up charges, you're good. I had like assault with deadly weapons, drug charges, stolen property, and the gang enhancement, but that didn't really like it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
They're looking for other charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
But so I end up pleading guilty to it. At the time I was like, fuck yeah, shoot it. Like I'm about to get tried fucking for a murder. Like
12 years with half. Yeah.
shoot that shit. Like I was about to sign for 15. My lawyer was just like, hold on, let's go to lunch and we'll come back. And that's a fucked up thing when like a motherfucker can say like, let's go to lunch, and he comes back and like
you're going to lunch.
a bunch of years of your life are like knocked off just because some guy's able to got the gift of gab and able to like get it down lower.
Yeah.
And at that time I had a paid lawyer, and I think if I didn't have one, I would have been like completely fucked.
Yeah.
But so I end up pleading guilty to that. I get sent upstate, and I always think about like prison as like this like parallel universe that's existing on like the margins of what you call normal society. It's a world outside of another world.
Yeah.
It only exists like on the perimeter of what we all like kind of like consider what reality is.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that is because you have to be transported in there. I watch like a lot of sci-fi movies, and like when they talk about going to like another world, they're always like, we're gonna get transported over there. And this is kind of like what they're doing. They put you on the bus, and they put you on against your will. Like you never see anyone happily fucking getting into the fucking bus and shit.
Yeah, you don't see someone get in the bus without any handcuffs on and shit and be like, hell yeah, we're going to prison. Woo!
Yeah, you don't see anybody doing that.
No, absolutely.
A lot of people are kicking and screaming, like literally, like I don't put me on that bus,
Yeah.
And that's why they literally they transport you inside, and you go through a couple gates, you go to an electric fence, you go through a wall, you go through the gate on the yard, then you go through the doors onto the block, and then eventually till you get to your little cell. And that's why I feel like it's like a world existing outside of this world. And it gets really deeper into it. Like once I got to UCLA, I started like reading up on a lot of philosophers. You read about this guy named Michel Foucault. I hope some of your listeners know who Michel Foucault is, because you guys need to read that guy. He writes this book called Crime and Punishment. No, Discipline and Punishment. And he speaks on like how, and this was in the 60s, where he's talking about like eventually the prison is going to reach beyond the prison walls and start penetrating society. And I feel a lot of that's happening already. Like you see like cameras on every block. The surveillance has already started.
All movement is being monitored.
And that's what happens in prison. They're always like looking at what you're doing. Like there's very little blind spots. There's always somebody watching. And that's what's happening right now in society, where like the arms of the prison are starting to reach out and start encompassing like everybody. Technology's their tool now.
Yeah.
It's what you go back and you read about something called a panopticon, which is like kind of like a bubble. And in the bubble, there's people looking at you. And so their theory is that if people are watching you, you're less likely to commit crimes.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened with prison. Now it's happening out here, but so like that outside world is starting to come in and blend into this world. They're starting to overlap, but that's like really kind of a little deeper. But I do see it as like a world existing outside of this world. It's like completely different. Everything's upside down, you know. And a lot of times when you get out, you bring that upside downness out here, and it doesn't make sense, you know. There'd be people bumping into me at Universal Studios like a week after I got out, you know, and I'll be like, motherfucker, you know, like, you know, I'm about to tell this motherfucker something, and I realize like, fuck, that fool doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He didn't know what he did. Yeah. He didn't know like that. He disrespected me right now. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of shit that you carry. You carry that through your entire life. A lot of people come out and they act upon it. You know, they start disciplining people around them with these rules that they, you know, that they were abiding by in this world that doesn't exist out here yet. Yeah. So I get in, you know, I was in Wasco. From Wasco, I get shipped. I stayed in Wasco for a couple months on A Yard on their main line. I thought I was gonna stay there. It's like a really nice yard.
A really nice yard.
If anyone's ever been to Wasco A Yard, it's pretty. It's got good like exercise equipment and shit like that. You know, that's what you call it a nice yard. It's like, oh, it's got ping pong. That shit's the shit. Yeah, I ended up going to Calipat for a little bit. They were on like a complete lockdown there. I didn't stay too long. My points went down. I ended up at Ironwood. Ironwood's probably like one of the spots where I did like most of my time. It was a level 3. It was good then. I heard it's not good now. Like a couple of, I don't, you know, if you want to get into that kind of stuff, we can get into it. But like, you know, if you know what that means, you know, like all the yards were good. Then like eventually, you know, they started taking away certain things. And I was around to see like a lot of things get slowly like slip away. The cigarettes, the packages, all that shit.
What year did you go in?
I got there around 2004.
Okay.
And I had barely missed like people were burying their cigarettes in the yard.
Yeah.
There was little lighters on the blocks. Yeah, you can go in and like, you know, turn on your cigarette.
Hit the button.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden cigarettes became like a
dope.
crime.
Yeah,
they became a crime. There was people stuffing that shit in their ass, you know, and like fucking smoking it later.
Yeah, no, I had about a half a can of Bugler in my ass, dog, and I've never shitted the same since, dog. I mean, ever since I put that half a Bugler can in my ass, dog, like the shit just falls out my ass, dog. I mean, my ass will never.
Nah, the fucking ligas blown out. The ligas are blown. They're gone.
Blown. No spokes.
Spokes are bent.
Yeah, the
spokes
are gone.
Yeah,
man.
but so yeah, like I stayed there for a while, and then eventually, you know, the college program showed up, and really for me, that's kind of like what did it. Like, you know, I was still fucking up. Like, you get to prison, some people get worse. Like, that's just like a fact. You go into prison as like, you know, with a dope charge, you end up catching like a boo-bopping. You end up getting, at that time, they were picking up a lot of like charges at Ironwood. Yeah. That's why they picked up my charge. I ended up fucking up, and I got charged with assault with deadly weapon on an inmate. But they were picking up a lot of charges at the time. Like, also there was a lot of overcrowding. This was like towards 2010. They started saying that, you know, that prison was overcrowded, and so they started sending people out of prison to out of state prisons. Right, there was one in Arizona, Oklahoma, Mississippi. I think there was one in Tennessee. That's what I had heard.
How are those out of state? How were the last time I was in the system, I pro'd from Calipat, B Yard, 4 Yard. Then I went back in and I had a couple charges, one in LA and one in Arizona. Beat the one in LA, got sent to ADC, had to do time in Arizona, got extradited out there. But anyways, the last time that I was in the California CDC system, they didn't have they weren't sending dudes out of state. But I mean, how were those out of state prisons? Because these are private prisons, right? You know, they're not regular CDC officers. They're basically private security guards they have in this. So I mean, how were those systems out there, bro? Those prison yards, bro.
I guess it depends on like what type of inmate you were. If you were like an inmate that liked to fuck around and liked to get high, those prisons were the shit. And if you were the inmate that liked to program and like work out and like, you know, take advantage of like the school and other things, then they weren't like that. They weren't great. You know, they kept you in your cell a lot.
I mean, but if they're sending homies that are from California to other states, you know, and I'm not. This is all right. This is probably not a question to ask because one thing we don't do right here is we give up. We're not giving up no fucking game or to fuck up anybody's business or program. It's a fine line when we have these subjects, these topics right here. You know, I know I'm not bulletproof. I'm not invisible. You know, invincible. But it's crazy, bro, that these they're going out to these other states, and when you go out to these other states, these are California yards, right? Yeah. So these are people that are shipped out to these other states. I mean, and these yards are flooded with dope. Yeah,
yeah. I won't get into the details of it, but you know, that's what the name of the game was. You know, when you were out there, and just to do like a little overview on like private prisons, like.
I mean, I heard that. I don't mean to cut you off real quick, but I want to ask you this real quick. I heard they had like video games and stuff there, bro. Yeah. Some of them, huh? Like Xboxes or something.
Yeah, they had Xboxes. They had PlayStations. They had, you know, like game consoles and shit.
That's crazy. I mean, did you actually have that in your cell?
Yeah, I had an Xbox.
You had an Xbox in your cell, bro?
Yeah.
Damn, homie, that's crazy.
You know, some motherfuckers are like, oh, that fool was at a fucking weak ass prison, but it was active. To tell you the truth, those fucking yards are pretty fucking active because so many people are on fucking dope. They end up not paying their fucking debt and they end up fucking getting scraped off the yard. But like, you know, that's the kind of shit that, you know, then you go home and play your Xbox. But it's really fucked up because they would let you have that because they weren't letting you out of your cell. Like you weren't programming, you weren't going out to the yard because they're understaffed. And a lot of times the staff, they don't even know like how to handle you.
Yeah, because they're dealing with the fucking upper echelon of criminals from California.
Yeah,
they're dealing with some fucking professional criminals that are getting sent off to these states, and they're like, bro, we only seen you guys on fucking on lockup or gangland or some shit. You know what I mean? And they're like, damn, now we got to really deal with you guys. And so these are under. How do you say it? These are underqualified, undertrained, underqualified individuals to deal with the top of the food chain criminals. So they keep you guys locked in the cell. Yeah. They're like, fuck it, you got an Xbox, dog. Yeah. You know what I mean? You good? I mean, I would be good, bro. I got the Xbox, homie. I'd be pro at that shit, homie. Flipping games, dog.
Yeah, well, and then another shit that happened was the phenomenon of the fucking cell phone in prison. And shit, and I'm not gonna get into that shit or how that happens, but like if you really think about it, like inmates can't go in and out of the prison, you know, and those things are too fucking big for the mail. Like it's like there's only a logical fucking explanation as to how they're getting in.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and I'm not even like, you know, I'm not even gonna fucking like get into it, but like you can fucking put it together. Like,
I mean, the almighty dollar is king, right? Yeah. I mean, you know, and especially when you're dealing with these underqualified security guards, and if they're underqualified, then they're probably underpaid. You know, so if they're underpaid, then they're. Go ahead.
They were getting paid about $7 an hour in Mississippi, and I was in Mississippi for like a while, and a lot of the COs there, the correctional officers were black women, you know, and one time we asked one of them like, hey, how come all the COs here are like, you know, women, and like because all the motherfuckers are locked up. You know, that's not what she said, but I don't really, you know, I don't get down like that with like certain like, you know, words, you know, that I know a lot of times people like to drop like certain words, you know, but I got a lot of respect for like, you know, my black brothers, but they, you know, they say motherfuckers are locked up. Like all the black men in Mississippi are in prison too.
So a lot of these females in these other states were taking these jobs, bro. Because why? They were going to be in a meat market, bro, or what? Yeah, I mean, were they giving up the poo nanny? I mean, were fools hitting? I mean, fools were hitting broads in fucking Cali, bro, prisons. You know what I mean? So I remember back in the day, bro, like fools would be popping up a picture and they'd be like, check this shit out. And I see a broad in a motherfucking miniskirt at a club, and I'll be like, oh shit, that's fucking CO whoopty whoop whoop that works the chow hall. You know what I mean? You know, and this is in Cali, bro. So I can imagine out there, bro, the homies were just fucking tagging. There a lot of baby mamas.
Yeah, there's legends. There's legends. Like, you know, I won't get into specifics, but you know, homies had babies out there.
I mean,
homies were having like more what do you call it, biracial babies out there. You know, and not just homies, like all the races. You know, everyone was in on it. Yeah. That's kind of like one of the things that I kind of liked was like, you know, it was a little bit like the tension between races was a little bit less because everyone wanted to get in on some action, you know, wasn't like involving like the races.
Yeah,
you know?
racial politics and stuff. And, you know, I mean, if you had if it was the dope game or if it was a female you're trying to fuck with or if it was a cell phone transaction you're trying to work, like everybody had their hands into something and they had something moving. So at the end of the day, the way to keep that shit afloat is to create less tension on the yard amongst the fucking races. Because once the races pop off, then you're fucking up all your fucking action, right?
Yeah,
you know.
And one of the scariest things that I've ever been through was a race riot. You know, it's fucked up. You know. Personally, in my opinion, it's fucked up. Some fools are like, fuck yeah, you know, I'm fucking putting work on these motherfuckers or whatever. For me, it's like fucked up. It's like, fuck, man, you could have been doing so much better, you know, just like coexisting at least, you know, without that kind of shit. 100%.
I mean, I've been on yards in Cali, bro, that I work chow halls with brothers, you know what I mean? And I never like put it out there, but in my head, I always felt like if something popped off, I would never gun for that dude because that was my boy right there. You know what I mean? You know,
that's some of the fucked up shit you gotta like face. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like you know what I mean? I'd go the other way in regards to that shit. You know what I mean? But prisons, living like you said, living in that world is. You know, it's complex, bro.
Yeah. California prisons are probably like the most segregated places probably on earth. Where like this is mine, this is yours. Don't touch this shit. Don't cut through these tables. You know, but it's all just like to coexist. You know, and the balance of power.
I mean,
can get you know. I mean, it's life or death. Sometimes.
I mean, in order to coexist, there needs to be fucking there needs to be rules set on the table, and as long as everybody's abiding by them rules, like to the simplest rules, you know what I mean? Because the simplest rule can pop the fucking shit off, bro. Like cutting through some fucking tables, you pop it, you jump up, and be like, hey, homie, fuck you, you know, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And if you get one wrong word out that individual, then that little thing can just, you know what I mean, pop the whole entire thing off. I mean, I remember I was in a prison one time, and shit popped up over pumpkin pie. They gave us pumpkin pie. It was for a holiday, bro. You know what I mean?
Good.
Yeah, and the shit popped off. There was a race riot between the homies and the brothers over pumpkin pie, and the pumpkin pie situation stemmed from the cocina inside the kitchen. That something happened between a homie and a brother over pumpkin pie. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe they were trying to get an issue, you know what I mean? And maybe someone stepped on the toes, something, the cut didn't get cut right, you know what I mean? Who was supposed to get what, or somebody got the clavo, you know what I mean? I don't exactly know the ins and outs of it, but I know what would trickle down to the yard, and that was a full-on fucking riot over pumpkin pie, dog. Mm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the littlest things, you know, and like you said, to coexist, there's rules and regulations, and once one of those rules and regulations are broke, all hell can break loose over the littlest fucking thing, pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's almost like a microcosm of what's going on out here, you know? It's like we all trying to get that pie. We're trying to get that piece of the pie and shit. And the problem is that our main enemy, right? And I'm just gonna say the main enemy is the system, but we all know who runs the system, right? Our main enemy has used a warfare strategy that has been used on our people for hundreds of years, and that's divide and conquer, right? And it's what Cortez used for the Mexicas, where like he convinced all the other tribes that somehow those were the enemies and that they needed to help him get rid of them so that he can give them back their land. And he didn't do that shit. He fucked them over too. Yeah. But divide and conquer has been a warfare strategy used by Europeans to destroy like people of color, for centuries.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely
right.
Let
that sink in for a second.
No, yeah. I know when Cortez went into when he came in, he picked up all those tribes, bro. You know what I mean? The biggest army was because of all the tribes that joined him on his way to conquer. You know what I mean?
But you won't hear that in the history books. They'll say like Cortez showed up with only 500 men and they were able to destroy the Aztecs. It's like, no, they weren't. They fucking convinced like tens of thousands of other people who eventually were enslaved because of it for helping them. But, like back to the prison story, like, so yeah, I'm at Ironwood, and the college, which is called Palo Verde, comes onto the yard and they're offering college classes. At the time I'm still fucking up, I got dope in my ass. I got fucking quick little segue into like, I had a visit once, and a female visited me once. She was, I don't know how other way to say it, but she was, giving me a hand job in the patio. I thought that was like a good idea, and one of the homies comes out. He's a porter right there, a black man. He's like, hey, homie, they fucking coming for you. Just want to let you know. He's pretending to sweep though, but he's like, hey, they're coming for you, man. Like, they see you. And I'm just like, oh,
you getting jacked off in the patio, bro.
Yeah, well, they thought she was like, stuffing shit in me, like like a Thanksgiving turkey. Just like they thought she was like shoving shit in there. And,
she was really getting the shit out of you.
and yeah, sure enough, like squad comes out, them fools with the black patches and shit. Call them the goon squad, but you call them squad or whatever. The gang squad, the prison gang squad comes out and they fucking gaffle me up in front of everybody, Take me to the back, right there, the back of the visiting room, and they're like, what the fuck did she give you? I'm like, man, fuck, man. She was just jacking me off, man. Like it's all good. She wasn't giving me shit. And they're like, fuck, shut the fuck up. Pull it out. Pull it out of your ass. And I'm like, I don't got shit. Like, I'm serious. That's what she was doing. And then, they had me like bending over, like giving them a full show, and they're just like with their flashlights. They're like, like, I don't know, man. Cough a couple times. And I'm just like, motherfuckers, And then they're like, we're taking you to potty watch. A lot of people, what, if you want to know what potty watch is, it's like they kick you to this cell, right? You're butt naked. You're just in you're in your boxers. None. It's like an empty cell with a toilet, but the toilet doesn't work. You got to give them 3 good shits, before they let you leave potty watch, and they feed you good too. I guess that's a good thing about potty watch, but while you're waiting to take a shit, you're handcuffed to the bunk like this. It's cruel and unusual punishment that they use, And a lot of people may think like, oh man, why are you exposing? But like, I'm exposing them. Fuck that. I'm not fucking. That's the process. They do cruel and unusual punishment to you, and they had me hemmed up in the potty watch cell. I end up giving them 3 good shits, that's not what it was about, but that's what they thought. So I'm fucking up like that. I'm doing stupid shit like that. the college courses, you know, are you know, they're on the yard. And really, like, I took a couple classes just to get out of the cell. You know, they let you leave the cell when it's like count time, or, you know, like when you're supposed to be in the cell, they let the college students out and they get to go to the college room and just hang out. I'm like, fuck, I want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it turns out I love it, and I can fucking do it. You know, it's not hard for me. You know, once you start paying attention, it's like, man, I know this shit. This shit's like kind of easy. You know, and I start to really get into it. You know, I start learning shit. Like, I'm learning shit. You know, so much to the point where there was other homies on the yard, and they're hitting me up. They're like, hey, you know, they're a little embarrassed too, and that goes back to like the fear, right? You know, they're a little like, they don't want to, like, you know, they don't want anyone to know and shit. They're like, hey, homie, I heard you help people with their math. I'm like, yeah, you want, yeah, I can help you with that. You know, yeah. And then one of my hustles was I would take the GED for people sometimes. You know, some people wanted their GED, they didn't want to work for it. Like, okay, well, give me $50. I'll take your GED for you. You know, that ain't shit. Whatever.
And you were able to do that? Take the GED? Because
there's ways of doing it.
Got you. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I'll show up and get it. You know, I would encourage them the best I could. Like, you know, maybe you should take it yourself. You know, like, it's kind of easy. You know, I'll help you. And it's like, nah, man, I just want it. You know, it's gonna help with parole, whatever. So I end up like, you know, being like almost like a de facto like tutor. You know, a couple of people are starting to pay me to take courses for them. You know, they're like, you know, like, how much do you charge to take the whole course? I'm like, man, I thought you just wanted help with the test. Like, no, charge me, like, you know, I want all the tests. You know, like, take them for me or whatever. You know, I really try to encourage people to, like, you know, do it. Like, it was helping me. You know, it was putting my mind at ease. That and drawing. You know, I do tattoos. You know, I learned to tattoo in prison. You know, and the between the art and the education, like, you know, it would like make the walls disappear. You know, like for a second, like there was no cell. It was just me and the drawing, or just me and the book. Everything else didn't matter. You know, it was almost like I was free. You know, and then I'd come back to the cell like, oh fuck, back in the cell, shit. Yeah. You know, so that's kind of like where like the whole like road that I'm on now, that's where it began. And it kind of began more as me wanting to like not be in a cell. But now it's just like me not wanting to ever go back to prison, you know? And that really just started with like what people call your palabra, right? And, you know, something about your word, right? Something about your word and your education. Your palabra in prison means everything, right? It's like the one thing that nobody can take your palabra from you.
Yeah.
Only you can give it away to people, and only you can break it. It's absolutely 100% yours. You know, and that's the same with your education. Nobody can take your education from you. Once you have that degree, it's like nobody can say like you didn't get it. Nobody can say like, you know, they can grab it and rip it, but like, you know what you went through. They know what you went through to get it. They know that's not an easy thing to get, and nobody can take it from you. And that's like one of the special things in life where like it's one of your palabra and your education are one of like the few things in life that's 100% yours. And even when you think about it, like your children, they're not 100% yours. You know, you had them with somebody else, you know? And, you know, even if you want to get like, you know, spiritual with it, they belong to God. They don't belong to you, you know? But you've had them, you went half and half with somebody to get them. So they're not, you know, even looking at it that way, it's like your palabra and your education are like 100% yours. Nobody can take it from you, and only you can break it with the palabra, right? And we end up giving it that we end up giving our word to like people that don't give a fuck about us, you know, that just needed us for a second of their life. You know, a lot of times I would find myself like giving people, oh, that's my palabra on me, I'll fucking do that shit or whatever. It's like, you know, once I hit rock bottom, and we'll get to that later, but once I hit what I call rock bottom, I decided to give myself that palabra. Like, you know what, I'm gonna give myself that palabra. You know, I deserve it. You know, it's my palabra. What the fuck? What am I giving? I'm going around giving it to everybody. And then my palabra was, I'm never coming back. And that's one of the things that when you tell people that in prison, they're like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, everybody comes back. You know, that's the one thing that everybody, I guess, knows in prison. Like, oh, no, you'll be back. You'll be back at least one more time, you know? And I'm like, I'm not ever coming back, no matter what, you know? And like, that's my word. I give myself that palabra. So now it's just like, oh shit, now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna break that, you know?
This is for Ashley. Ashley said, drop the donation, shot.
Thank you, Ashley.
And so you went in with 12 years with half.
Yeah.
And you did a total of 14 years?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I was supposed to parole in 2010 at the time. Right? Around 2009, I end up taking a guy off the yard, right? You know, we had to do a removal. Me and a couple of other guys. We get caught, right? We get caught because, and this was just like very unique. It was a very unique situation. I know there's not really many unique situations in prison, especially when it comes to that shit. But like, you know, I guess like without really getting too much into it, most what you call pegadas or, you know, removals, they end up like happening during yard because they want people on yard to see that shit. Like, you know, a lot of people, like, what you want to understand is that the yard is like the stage, you know? That's like the world. And when you go out to the yard, you got to be like firme, right? You got to be like, you got to be working out. You got to be showing people like, yeah, you know, I'm about that. This motherfucker wasn't coming out to the yard and shit, you know? Because he knew what was up. And we're like, fuck, how the fuck are we going to get this fool out? He knows. He knows he's got something coming. He's not coming out. You know, you always have an excuse. Oh, I'm going to stay in. I got to get on the phone or whatever, you know? And we're like, fuck, dude, this motherfucker is not going to come out. You know? We even made a ducat, right? A ducat is like a pass to go to like medical or dental, whatever. Some people just get them randomly because it's their time to get like a medical checkup. We make a fake one and that fool doesn't fucking bite, you know? He's like, he didn't go. I'm like, this motherfucker didn't go. So what ended up happening is, you know, we had to do something very unique, and that's like get them at chow time. You know, for a lot of people that have been to prison, you know, chow time is chow time. Nothing happens at chow time. You know, you go and you eat and you come back to your cell. And for us, that was like a window of opportunity to make a removal. To do a removal. You know, the only time he was fucking coming out was at chow time. So it's just like, and we already knew, like, you know, when you're taking that lap back to your cell, like, there's nothing but huras everywhere. Like, it's not like the yard where it's everything is madness and like you can do something without, you know, people seeing. They're all watching, and so like it's like a straight show. Like, you know, the huras were like, fuck. You know, you guys, one of the hooders like, you guys really got that motherfucker, you know? So like I got caught. I got caught doing something really stupid. They ended up tacking on 8 more years, you know, with 85. And they gave me a second strike, you know, for assault with a deadly weapon on an inmate. You know, and that's probably like the lowest point in my life was right there, was they were taking me out of my cell. You know, they're putting me in a van and they were driving me to Indio County to go through the whole court process. Like, they didn't even send me to the county jail. They were just taking me from prison to the courthouse to tack on more time. And at that time, it was just like the lowest like point in my life. Like, what the fuck did I do? Like that shit was, that was just stupid, right? It was just stupid. I ended up getting another strike. 8 more years, you know, they tagged that on. I had to do it consecutively, which means I had to serve my current term and then serve that term. So that's what happened with that.
Damn, bro. I feel you though when you're talking about you know what I mean it being your lowest point in doing time. I mean when you're low, when you're doing time, you're low already. Yeah. When you and you know what I mean, and you tack on another fucking 8 years, bro. I mean that shit's gotta fucking hurt. I mean it hurts hearing it, you know, but it's a part of that system, and it's the way it's the way that world spins, you know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you catch that time, and I mean mentally you're broke. Or you just kind of got a case of the fuck it's like fuck it, this is what it is. You know what I mean, you know, just pick yourself up, be strong, you know, soldier.
Yeah. Well, around that time I had that attitude, like, you know, well, fuck it, like, you know, I chose to do this. Fuck it, let's write it out. You know, I had my cellie was, you know, one of the homies, you know, that went on this holiday with me, and you know, shout out to Gato from Columbus Street. If you motherfucker, you're fucking watching, you know, you're famous motherfucker, whatever, you know, fucking Gato, you're a little guy. He was like young. He was like 18, you know, just a little young guy. You know, the wrong person to do this too, you know. I had to teach that motherfucker how to fucking read and shit, you know, while we were in the hole waiting to do this shit. It's like, it was just, you know, I feel now, like looking back at it, it's like, man, I could have, you know, taught this kid so much more other shit. Instead, we go on this fucking mission and we get more time. I get more time. Fuck, you know, whatever.
I mean, he was a victim of his environment, huh? I mean, he didn't even know how to read.
He didn't even know how to read. He learned how to read an essay with me. Like I would read him like Grimm's fairy tales. You know, he'd grab a book and like, can you read this for me? Like, I don't know how to read. I was like, motherfucker, I'm gonna teach you how to read. You know, and then, you know, and it kind of played into like this whole thing where like, you know what, like fuck, I teach people shit, and I didn't see that for myself. Somebody else saw that, you know, and that's that's what I mean when I hit rock bottom. Is when one of the homies in the back, right? We're doing this shoe term, and one of the homies there, right? He pulls me to the side during yard, and when you go to yard in the hole, it's just like a little dog kennel, right? And all the homies are there in their boxers. You can only work out in your underwear, so you're just in your boxers doing burpees and shit. It's very like, it's like a very masculine place because all there is men, you know. And then you got these huras with guns just like ready to fucking pop you if you do something stupid. They got this giant size like a big ass like sentry gun, but it spits out like mace, you know, it spits out pepper spray. That shit'll knock you down, like, you know, so much pepper spray comes out of it. It's just like a huge ass sentry gun. A lot of times the huras would joke around and point it at us, you know. We'd be like waiting and you see it go and you're like, fuck, stop fucking around. And then they pointed at another guy, just playing that mind game with us and shit. But one of the homies pulled me to the side, and this, you know, this was a good homie, you know. He had already been like, he was trying to get, they were gonna validate him, you know. And for a lot of people that don't know, I'm not gonna get too deep on it, but they have to like find evidence to validate you. I'm not gonna define what validating means. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then I'm sorry. You know, it's one of those knowledge things that you're only gonna learn if you get there. But they're trying to validate them, right? And a lot of times when they try to validate you, they'll send you to wherever. You know, at that time they're sending people to Tehachapi Shoe. A lot of times they get sent back. Like people at Tehachapi, they'll be like, "Nah, man, this is all fucked up. You need to." You know, you need to either rework it or this guy's going back to you, you know?
Yeah.
But at the time, like, that's how the process goes.
Yeah.
That's a really cruel and unusual punishment. Something that, as an artist, like, I'm trying to focus on, like, how to create art out of it. And that's kind of like where, you know, I'll talk to you about it later, but it's like, the artwork that I do has a lot to do with exposing systems. And systems of oppression and systems designed to like oppress certain people. In that case, it would be like people like you and me, you know, people that are either black or brown that are constantly being like targeted by this system that wants to control your body, right? But we'll get into that a little bit later. But so the homie pulled him into the side. He goes, "Hey man, can I ask you like a serious question, homie?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. What's up?" He goes, "What are you doing here?" You know, he goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing here? You know, I'm doing the same thing you are. We're working now. What are you talking about? He's like, "No, man. What are you doing here? Like, why are you here? Why are you here with me?" You know, I kind of took it a little. I got a little offended. You know, like, what the fuck you mean? Homie, I'm handling my business. You know, I'm a homie. I'm a Southsider. You know, I'm doing my shit. What? And he's like, "Nah, man. You need to answer me like, what are you doing here? Why are you here?" You know, and I'm telling you, I'm telling you because I look at you and I know you, and this was a homie that I knew like on the yard, on the main line, right? He's like, "I know who you are." He's like, "You help people. You know, you're the tutor. What the fuck are you doing here?
What the fuck is a tutor doing here?
You know?" He's like, "You're the guy that tutors people on the yard. What the fuck are you doing here?" You know? And he was telling me in a way where like I knew that he cared. You know, he wasn't telling me like to talk shit or to clown or to
Be
like
a dick or shit.
Yeah, no, he was telling me because like he's like, you can, you know, and then he kind of elaborated more. He was like, "You could be doing so much more, man. You know how much time you got?" I'm like, "Man, I just caught him there 8 years, man." He's like, "Oh yeah, that ain't shit." He's like, "I've been down 18 years. You know, I get out in 80 years. Then my celly, he's got life. The homies down the way, they both got life. One of them has 2 life sentences, just in case he dies. You know, just in case he doesn't die, he got another life sentence, just in case he doesn't die. That's the fucked up part, right?
Just in case they find out he's immortal.
In case they find out he's immortal, he's got another life sentence, just in case.
I don't ever understand the double life, triple life sentences, bro.
It's just to give you. It's just to for them to get more points, to get another conviction. Like there was homies that I was going to court with that were getting struck out, but they already had life. You know, it was just like another conviction that the DA could get.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it affects their appeal process.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just like you don't fit in right here.
You're smarter than this.
You don't fit in with the cats that are on this yard right here. Like look at all the homies right here. None of them have 8 years left. You know, and that's why I asked you, like both of you, because me and Gato were both out there. Like, both of you, what are you guys doing here? You know, and you know, it was really like kind of like a reality check, where like especially like in him seeing something in me that I wasn't seeing myself. Like I wasn't seeing that, you know. Yeah,
you were just doing your time, and you found a niche of helping people, taking GEDs for people. I mean, were you prior to that prison term you were doing, bro? I mean, were you always? I mean, did you do well in school prior?
No.
So you figured out during your prison term that you actually.
I had like the brains for it.
You had the brains to.
And not only that, I had like the interest for it.
It was easy for you.
I took like this like philosophy 101, and it was just like you know, like so many like doors opened where like I had already known that shit, and to read about it, you know, like kind of like validating like all of these thoughts I already had about reality and society and this world that we live in was kind of like it was like the justification I needed, where like, you know what, like I knew this shit already, you know, like if this is what it is, if this is what education is, or if this is what college is, I got this shit in the bag because I already knew this shit, and I'm reading it, and it's just like, it's kind of just like more like review for me, because I had already saw like the world in that way, right? When you start looking past like the subliminal messages and shit, and the overall like the structure of like the economic structure, or like the
society and everything.
Yeah. All that shit was just kind of things I had already seen, but I didn't know that they were like knowledge. They were just kind of things that I felt were kind of like barriers for me, or obstacles that I needed to get past.
So you didn't get in touch with your true being, your true intellect until this prison term. You got to know what you were really made of, who you really were, what you were really capable of.
Yeah.
You know, and it must have been really eye-opening, bro, to figure out your possibilities, your capabilities locked in a fucking cage.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of my artwork that I do is based on that, on the knowledge that one almost is even forced to learn to survive, or to even handle like an environment like that. And when you bring those things out like into this world, it's like they don't make sense, you know. And it's because, you know, this kind of like this society that we live in right now is kind of like controlled and dictated by so many other factors, so many other forces, other than just like the COs or the warden, you know. But yeah, after
I mean, with someone, I mean, just a question to you, and give your opinion on it. But with someone with the brain capacity that you figured out that you had, the knowledge you figured out that you had during this prison term, I mean, would you think it's easier to do time for yourself opposed to the homie that doesn't know how to read?
No.
Coping is I mean, in regards
we both
to like,
ended up in the same cell together.
I mean, in regards to like coping mechanisms, you know what I mean? Coping with, you know what? I am locked in this cell until chow time, until they let me out of the cell. Or if you're not getting out of the cell, maybe you're in the oil and you're getting your food through a tray slot. You know what I mean? I mean, coping mechanisms. Some people fall down a dark path in their mind of being locked in this fucking cage. The anxiety, the stress, the coping mechanisms aren't there,
right?
You know, opposed to you figuring out your brain capacity, your intellect. You know, I would think that it's easier for a person like yourself to find a path to, like you said, when you opened up these books, the walls disappeared. You know?
Yeah, and those are strategies, I think. Those are like now I look back at it and it's like those are strategies that I had, like I was designing for myself without knowing that that's what they were. They were, you know, at the time I was just like, I'm gonna read this book because, you know, it makes me feel good. But what I was doing was I was designing a strategy to cope with what you said, with like the pressures of the walls. You know, sometimes some people feel the walls are closing in on them, and you would see it too. You'd be like a good common saying in prison was like, "Oh, that fool ain't doing time. Time's doing him." You know, he can't. He's gonna. You see him on the phone all the time.
It's hard time.
You know, he's a phone monster. He's always on the phone yelling at his mom or some shit. You know, which I understand. I'm not trying to like put anyone down. You know, if that's the way like they had to handle like the pressures of it, then that's the way they had to handle it. But like, yeah, I was designing kind of like strategies and methods on which to cope with these like walls that were like constantly closing in on me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I remember I used to make phone calls sometimes. Once in a while, I'd make a phone call to the homies and shit. And I really didn't care what they were doing out there, because I figured it was the same old of what I was doing out there. It's just the same landscape, just different players. You know, I figured it was just the same old shit. But I remember I had one homie of mine. He said, "Hey, Luck, how come you don't call, fool? All the homies call me all the time, fool. Collect, fool. It's all good, fool. Whoa, whoa, whoa." And I'm like, bro, like, I'm doing my time, bro. I'm right here. You know what I mean? And I noticed when I would make these phone calls that it would, I mean, it would feel good sometimes to get those. It always feels good to talk to someone and you know, and then you bring us, you share the conversation with your cellie. Yeah, I was talking to homie, blah, 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 whoop, whoop, this and that, you know. But it was easier for me to not make those phone calls, to distance myself and to focus on this island that I was on. You know, it was easier for me to do time like that. You know, I got into fantasy books, dog. I remember a homie from Rancho San Pedro, dog. He got me into fantasy books, and I was like, "Fool, those are the books that all the fucking white boys be reading. Whoop, this and that, dog." I mean, you know, warlocks and
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, fools with powers and shit. You know what I mean? And these books were like fucking like they were like trilogies. They were fucking.
Oh man, you're talking about the Wheel of Time?
Yeah, bro. They were like
no, the pillars of the earth.
Yeah, bro. They were like you had to find like there would be like 20 of these books, bro, and you'd have to find them. Hey, I got 2 chapter, you know, blah blah blah. But anyways, I would get into these books, and at first I look at them and I would see how thick they were, bro. You know what I mean? I'd be like, fuck, this ain't a regular like Stephen King book. You know what I mean? It's like 300 pages. This book's like 800,000 pages. You know, but oh man, I dived deep in. I got into those books, bro, and it would just take me out, bro, into a whole nether planet, a whole nether atmosphere, bro. And all of a sudden and that's how my walls would disappear, bro. I get into these books, or I like to write a lot too. I'd write, bro, you know. And anyways, bro, yeah, everybody has their coping mechanisms of how to get beyond the walls that are around you, opposed to having like the time doing you know what I mean, and the walls closing in on you, you know what I mean? And that is the biggest fight, is the mental aspect on it, dog. You know what I mean? And I've seen those homies, and what do we do to those homies, dog? We clown those homies, bro. We're like, bro, we fucking hard timing it, bro. Get the fuck out of the cell, dog. Let's go play some handball. Let's play some pinochle. Whoa, 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 ba ba ba. Like, yeah. You always seen them homies, dog, and they'd wear it on their face that they were just doing really hard time, and that shit. You know what I mean? You don't really. I mean, the homies would prey on that shit, dog. You know what I mean? But you don't really want that hard time shit around you, because you're trying to live your best life in the situation that you're in. You know, and you find coping mechanisms to deal with that. You know, you got to keep yourself occupied, bro. You know what I mean? If you don't draw, learn how to draw. If you don't read, you know what I mean? Read, you know, whatever it takes, you know. Yeah. Doing time, bro, has really given me certain disciplines into my life out here, you know. Certain ways I move. I'm almost moving the same way when I did time. Like, I got a program, you know. I mean, it's program time, homie. You know what I mean? What do you do, dog? Before chow, you get up, you know, even before that door cracks to go to the fucking chow hall, bro, in the morning. You know what I mean? You're already up, bro. You got your fucking mattress rolled up, bro. You know what I mean? You throw some water on your face, hit the grill. Don't go to don't roll out of the motherfucking bed, homie, and go to the chow hall with that stink breath, dog. I mean, you have a program, bro. You know what I mean? You come back, you know what I mean? The yard's gonna open at whatever time it opens, bro. You know what I mean? Then you're gonna go do what you do. If you go to school, if you're gonna go, this is the when I'm gonna go work out right now. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, you have to keep your mind occupied. You gotta keep, rolling, dog.
Right. And but what you said too, like, does go back to like what we were talking about fear earlier, is like when you would see someone doing these things where you're just like, oh, this fool's like fucking can't stop calling his people, you know, or like this would just be like talking about like his wife all night and shit, you know. I take that back to fear. Like, I was scared to like even like attempt to like console this guy, you know, like you know, and instead I'd be like, oh, you're hard timing, homie. You need to fucking, you know, you need to get off of that shit. You need to start programming. But like, you know, now that looking back at it, I might have said like, man, you need a hug, you know, like talk to me about it, man. You know, like, because, you know, a lot of times when people are hurting, we, you know, and even just as men in general, like whether it be like, you know, brown men, homies, whatever, like just men in general have a hard time, like, just even doing that. Like, you know, like the other day at Home Depot, I'm like, fuck, man, I can't find this thing, you know, and my wife's like, just ask this guy, and I'm like, I'm fucking asking that fool, I can find it, you know. It's just like those little things, you know, in prison, those are big things. Like, I'm not gonna ask this fool like fucking what's wrong and shit. But that's like maybe that's what he needed, and maybe like I could have helped him or something,
Yeah.
It does go back to that toxic masculinity.
I feel you on that. I was a dick about it, bro. You know what I mean? I'd be like, bro, just like check it out, dog. Your lady's getting fucked right now. You know what I mean? Like, I was that dude, dog. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, she's
Just
fucking,
let it go.
she's
Yeah.
on all fours right now, taking fucking dick, homie. You know what I mean? Like, I was that dude. I was the worst dude, dog, to fucking, like, if I seen you fucking going through your shit, bro, you know what I mean? I'd be on your bumper about shit. And that's just because I fucked with you, you know what I mean? But then you seen them certain dudes you didn't fuck with. You're like, whatever. That fool's a fucking stress case, dog. You know what I mean? And them fools stick out like sore thumbs in them environments, dog. You know what I mean? And there's always somebody. If you ain't on them, someone else is on them, fool. You know what I mean? And you get labeled as that, dog. You know what I mean? And that like we were saying again, that's a fear. You don't want to get labeled as that. So if you don't want to, you know what I mean? Because if you're getting labeled as that, you're being looked at as a weak individual that is not. Overcoming his situation, you know what I mean, and
Yeah, and I think, but the real issue is when you leave that environment with the same kind of like sentiments, when you can't like talk to your wife about issues because you think that's like, that's like a bitch move or something, like, oh man, I'm not gonna tell her this shit, like this is fucked up. I'm not gonna tell her like that. Like there's something wrong with like my fucking liver or some shit that I'm feeling like I'm gonna have a heart attack like later and shit. Those are like, even those things are issues that kind of like are rooted in that, where like you can't talk about it. Not manly.
yeah,
Don't tell her that you feel like you're gonna fucking just fall out because your heart's gonna stop beating any minute. Those are things that might save your life. But I think they're rooted in that kind of shit where like I'm not gonna tell anybody anything because I'm invincible. You can't fuck with me. Like you can't see me, you can't fuck with me because I'm invincible and you're not.
You know what I think any individual that gets out of the prison system from doing any time, bro, you know what I mean, any time away from your freedom, your family, your will to do what the fuck you want to do, bro, takes a toll on everybody on different levels, But I think a part of parole, bro, should be they should make cats go to therapy, bro.
Yeah.
To talk about, like you said, like motherfuckers having a hard time talking about shit. They should a part of parole should be like, you know what, you have to go to therapy for X amount of hours, you know what I mean? And I think that'd be very therapeutic for cats to like get things off their chest, to have somebody to talk to. I mean, a professional that's not going to judge them, someone that doesn't know them, you know what I mean? That you can say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm going through, and maybe it's a conduit for them to get help in areas that they're not getting the help, because sometimes when you get out and you don't get this certain type of help that you might need, if it's your anxiety, your stress levels, if it's dealing with this world that you're not used to because you've been locked away from it for X amount of years, I think that would help. People from going back into the system, but I get the system, you know what I mean? The system is a fucking money-making fucking machine, bro, you know what I mean? And I don't think they want you, like, how many people would lose their fucking jobs if you stop going to prison?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people would lose their fucking jobs, bro,
There's some prisons where like that's like the only economy in the whole town.
Yeah.
I was doing I was part of an art event put on by like a really like super good artist named Rafael Esparza, who I feel is like who I look up to as kind of like a mentor. Where he brought me in on this, he's like I have this like art event that I want you to be part of, and we were writing slogans in the sky with airplanes above ice facilities. There's one in Adelanto. There's a bunch of them in California. I was assigned to one in Otay. Shout out to the homies from Otay in San Diego. I met like a good amount of homies. They like to lock people up over there. And it's a small little town. in this town, when I'm driving over there, it's like there's nothing there. You know, it's outside of San Diego. It's in San Diego County. It's outside of the city, and it's like the town on the opposite side of the border is Mexicali, right? It's like a border town. And the only thing that exists in Otay that I saw was like 4 different prisons. One of them is Donovan. Then there was the county jail there. Then there was a juvenile jail, and then there was the ICE facility in Otay. And like we had to do like a slogan above the ICE facility. But on the way there, we're driving and we end up in back of a big ass semi. On the big ass PIA, right? Which is the Prison Industry Authority, which is the fucking. This is a private company, right? That I label as a entity of the prison industrial complex, which is just kind of like a name for all of these companies that are making money off of the labor of prisoners. And the PIA makes everything from like church pews to boots, the clothes you wear, the clothes that cops wear, the clothes in hospitals, scrubs, all of these places that you wouldn't think like would do that are actually like making money off of the labor of prisoners, which makes you like no more, it makes you a slave. You're a slave, right? When you get upstate, you're considered state property, which means California owns your ass, and they give you a number. They could give a fuck about your name. My number was V82511. That was more important than my name. When they read mail, they want to know my last 2. They don't want to know what the fuck my name is, And we end up in back of this semi. It's Prison Industry Authority, and it's just like, it's like a big ass semi. It's just, it's full of merchandise, and it's going into Donovan. We follow it all the way into Donovan. We can only get so far and we come back. But it's just like the economy that is going on in Otay is solely on these prisons that are providing jobs for people, and that's where like a lot of the friction comes in. Where like we're making so much money off of these prisons, let's just lock up more and more and more and more. There's so many people. There's like millions of people locked up because people are constantly making money. When you get that phone call, that company GTL, that fucking they're making a killing. Whoever the fuck owns that company lives in fucking Beverly Hills for sure. When you order someone a package off of Access, Walking Horse, Union, all those fucking places, whoever owns that company is fucking living in fucking Hollywood somewhere in the Hollywood Hills, because they're making fucking a lot of money off of us. They want us to come back constantly. They don't want it to stop. They might be saying shit like, "Oh man, we're gonna do prison reform," which I hope this new president wants to do, but I don't think so.
That's something that I was against with Trump, because he was so pro police. He was, with all these situations that has happened within this year in regards to George Floyd and this and that, it didn't really seem like he was for the police reform, and I believe there needs to be, and that's so with my podcast right here, there's a lot of cats that are pro-Trump, and they're homies, they're individuals of colored skin, right? Not non-whites, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so complicated, bro, because everybody has their views of what it is and what it should be. Trump, 2020, blah blah blah. He's the one. Fuck Biden. But I think at the end of the day, you're choosing one of the lesser evils, And I look at it in a simple way, bro. I look at it as the character of the individual. You know what I mean? What he's saying and what is transpiring from his words. What's transpiring from Trump's words? To me, it seemed like racism and individuals were sprouting out the earth and showing their ass, showing their colors, and because they felt like we got Trump here, and this is this is the way to go. It's justified. It's okay. I mean, I started looking at I go to work with individuals, and when I see them with an American flag mask on, then what do I think? I think they're a Trump supporter. You know what I mean? So now I'm starting to look at the American flag like a Confederate flag. You know what I mean? And so now I look at it as racism, you know, and I talk to these dudes and they're like, nah, bro, I'm not racist, you know, blah, 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 whoop, whoop, you know what I mean? But overall, bro, I look at Trump as an individual and what he is what he's putting in the earth and what's sprouting out, and I don't like what was sprouting out, bro. You feel like he was bragging about he had all the police union was behind him, you know. He didn't feel he kept on commending all the police officers for doing such a great job and blah blah blah. No, you know, some of them do a great job, you know what I mean, but a lot of them aren't. So if a lot of them aren't, then we need police reform, you know what I mean? And he wasn't going to push that agenda, you know. Now this new regime that's in, we got Kamala Harris and we got Joe Biden. I mean, we're gonna be able to tell within the year, bro, on what direction they're really going, you know. Yeah. And there's a big chance that everybody that voted for him to get this guy out, they might be voting to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris out because, you know, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Time will tell. We'll see what it is, you know. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, you know, and a lot of cats may not like to hear this, bro, but I think that it's good that Trump's out the office. Let's see what these people do. If they don't do the right thing, then they're going to be out the office. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we'll move forward from that. But never in my life, bro, have I paid attention to politics like I have now. But I'm a grown man now. I pay taxes. You know what I mean? I'm raising a fucking family and shit. And, you know, I have to pay attention to this stuff.
Right.
You know, I have to pay attention to this stuff not only for myself, but for the ones, my family, who's underneath my roof, bro. You know, we need to pay attention to this shit. And if it's relatable, I'll fuck with it. If it's not, then it's gonna have to go after these 4 years. You know, I guess, you know, time will tell. Like I said, right? We're gonna see what it is.
Yeah. But like I said earlier, like it's almost like kind of like by design that people like us are not kind of like hip to that. Like we don't like a lot of times you hear people say like, oh, I don't, you know, fuck politics. I don't, you know, I don't do politics, or I don't know. They might be saying that that's exactly what they want you to do, is like not pay attention to that shit, you know. Like we, you know, a lot of people, they don't pay attention to the laws that are being made. They didn't pay attention to the measures that happen. You know, a measure passed that they were trying to put up a measure that was gonna start making people like go back to prison. They were wanting to make a lot of like misdemeanors. They wanted to turn them into felonies. It didn't pass, but you know, that's one of the things that they try to slip by under your nose, you know, because they're like, oh nah, the people ain't paying attention. You know,
they got this smoke screen going over here.
Yeah, and it didn't pass though, luckily. And then the other thing about the bail bonds that happened in California, like they wanted to make like bail bonds like non-existent, like no bail. They wanted everybody to have no bail, and you can only get out on things like OR. It's like, well, do you really think they're gonna fucking let me out? Like, probably not. You know, like it's like then they're trying to push it like, oh, like only rich people can post bail. It's like just having the opportunity to post bail is something, because if you think they're gonna let you out just because, you know, you're a citizen, that they're not gonna let you out. That's like, for me, it was just like another smokescreen where like they're trying to lock as many motherfuckers up again and shit, you know. And it didn't pass either. That luckily, because there was people like actually watching this time.
Yeah. Paying attention.
Yeah. So like, you know, like we're back to this like PIA, you know, and PIA is just like this private company that makes money off of the labor of prisoners and shit.
For cheap. Dirt cheap, like, cents.
And also like one of the main, like, you know, when I tell you I'm out of state, I'm in Mississippi, but the Mississippi is owned by a company called Corrections Corporation of America, right? And they're a private company. They changed their name to Core Civic after they started getting a lot of shit for it. They changed their name to Core Civic. You can go on the New York Stock Exchange and buy stock from Core Civic. You know, and you really think about it, like how does that happen? Why are they allowed to do this? It's like they're a private company. They're you can like publicly own stock from them, and their stock is prisoners. So it's like how does that happen? It's almost like unreal. Where you know, some people are in the business of corn. Some people are in the business of like pork bellies. You know, I'm in the business of fucking locking people up. You know, you want to get in on this because it's fucking booming.
Yeah.
You know, and right now their main customer is ICE. ICE is paying them to house all of their immigrants. You know, and that to me that's what turned me off about Trump. You know, like my gente, they're from Mexico. They came here. You know, they came here like, you know, a while ago. You know, 80s, 70s. But you know, I'm a first generation like Chicano. You know, I didn't. You know, my parents are from Mexico, and for me that was like a big turnoff. You know, and I sometimes I do like wonder like, how the hell these homies fucking backing this fool up? Like they didn't see the pictures of all those kids like in the cells. They were locking up a lot.
Yeah,
There's like kids right now that can't find their parents.
But they're saying that Obama was the one that did that.
Obama did that too, but that doesn't mean like that's not an excuse to back him up.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, okay, he did that shit too, but that doesn't mean like, oh, okay, well then we should back him up because the other guy started that shit. It's like he's continuing that shit.
Yeah.
He's perpetuating that shit. That shit that, yeah, okay, it started with like an administration that already passed, but it's still happening, you know?
You know what I trip out on? I trip out on like homies that I know, bro, that are supporting Trump and that have supported Trump, and no way, bro, do they have any relation with him. I mean, in any way. And I mean, I don't mean by like bloodline. I mean by just like common interest. I mean,
well, that's what we were talking about earlier. Like this guy's never gotten his hands dirty. He's never like held a shovel. He's never fucking, you know, like it's like, you ever seen that movie where they're talking about the dictator of North Korea? They're like, he doesn't have an anus.
I mean,
he doesn't wipe his butt. He doesn't even do that.
I mean, if Trump, you know? if Trump came to the hood, it would be like him visiting the LA Zoo.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Damn. That's an interesting animal. What is that right there? Yeah. Look at that animal in that cage right there. You know what I mean? Like, man, it would just be like sightseeing. It wouldn't be, there would be absolute no connection than just basically being entertained by what's in front of him. And then he goes back to his mansion, his private jet. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the classes, bro. You know what I mean? It's so tricky with politics, bro. You know what I mean? Because if Trump knew, I'm gonna throw something out there. I'm not saying this is what it is, but if Trump knew that I voted for Biden, he would be like, well, that's a convicted felon. That dude should not be allowed to vote. He lost his right to vote by breaking the law and committing a serious felony, you know? But if Trump found out that I was voting for him, then Trump would say, you know what? These guys deserve a second chance. These guys deserve a second chance. And that is the definition of politics.
Yeah.
That's the definition of politics. If it's working for you, then you're for it. If it's working against you, then hell no way. You know what I mean? Let's put up something that, stop that shit, a measure or whatever the fuck it might be. You know what I mean? It's just a crooked business and whatever fits the individual's agenda, Right. But
yeah, and as I looked deeper into it, right, with companies like the PIA and Core Civic, there's another one called Geo Group, and just doing my research on it, trying to make these like artworks that are based off of these institutions.
Yeah.
You can look it up, and Core Civic gave Donald Trump like $500,000 after he was elected president. Like, why would this private company that specializes in private prisons give this guy $500,000?
Yeah.
You know, they both gave him that. Core Civic and Geo Group gave him money. It's like, why? You know, it was like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah,
you know?
pro police, bro. Pro police. Yeah, 100%. Let's say we got a. I don't want to say your name wrong. How do you see your art intersecting with politics, society, and your personal experience? What kind of artwork are you making now? And that's from. I want to fuck your name up, dog. Thank you though for the donation.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to answer?
So some of the artwork I get, some of the artwork I make, at one point I didn't think it was artwork. And I have like this collection of what, as I studied like art, right? Especially like in Western culture, which means like art that was from Europe that eventually made its way over here, right? The styles or whatever. There was an artist and he came out with what's called a ready-made, right? This artist was named Marcel Duchamp. And Duchamp, there was this art contest, and this fool he bought a fucking urinal, like a pisser from a bathroom. He brings it, he puts it on, he puts it on display, and he signed it, and he's like, this is art. This is my art. It's art because I'm an artist, and I said it was.
Yeah.
And then, people were like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, it was just like mind-boggling or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was what he called a ready-made. He had other ready-mades where, like, it's already made. But it's not art yet until I say it is, because I'm the artist. So I have this, like, collection of shit that I consider art and that I've labeled sculptures now. For example, one of the ones that I have on display now at this gallery called Oxy Arts in Occidental College. It's in Glendale, or it's in your area. It's in Highland Park.
It's in my hood, bro.
Yeah, Occidental College in there.
Yeah. Barack Obama went there.
I'm part of an art exhibit there.
Yeah.
And on exhibit there is like a little box, and inside the little box is a prison shank. Because I wanted it to be art. It's not a prison shank anymore. It's a sculpture, and it's inside this little case. And for me, it was just like when I was deciding on what to do with this, because I have always thought that was an art to make like a nice one, a nice one where you can hide and shit. And, some people, I made one with my little pen, sometimes I would have a little pen one and you put it in your pocket.
Yeah, people would make it with newspaper.
A little one hitter quitter, and I'm like, man, this would be like a good art piece. I'm gonna do it. Because at first I was like, this is stupid. Like, why would this be art or whatever, Another one I have is a lighter, and I can make a lighter with give me a pencil, a paper clip, and a little wire, and I'll make you a fucking lighter, and you can fucking spark it up, and you can fucking get high or whatever. When I first saw a prison lighter, right, one of the homies was just like, hey, go down the way. I got a joint. You want to get high? I'm like, fuck yeah. He was like, go down the way and tell the homie to let you borrow his lighter. So I go down there, and I'm still kind of new, I'm like a fish, I don't know what the fuck, what the fuck's going on. I'm just like going with the flow.
Yeah.
And I knock on the homie's door. I'm like, hey, the homie said, if you can borrow your lighter, fool fucking shoots out a fucking pencil-looking thing. It's like a fucking pencil with a fucking little wire on it. And I'm like, hey, homie, no, he said to shoot his lighter. He's like, I did shoot the lighter. I'm like, all right. So I go back, and this fool plugs it into the wall.
Yeah.
And he makes the spark, and fucking, he makes fire.
Yeah.
And like, we're getting high, and I'm looking at this fucking thing. I'm like, homie, this is fucking art.
Yeah.
And he's like, shut the fuck up. You're fucking high as shit. I'm like, no, I'm serious. This is fucking crazy. It's like, it was mind boggling at the time.
Yeah.
And so now it's part of my ready-made collection, where like I collect things from prison that are ready-made. They're already made. They're mass-produced. All of these things were like, and like that's one of the, like an example of like some of the artwork that I make. It's like and what it does is it creates a spark into like a discussion into mass incarceration and the prison industrial complex and the fucked up like the damage that is done to our people, you know, the harm that it's doing, the harm that it's creating. All of these things are coming out of it that are very harmful to our people, you know. And that's like kind of like one of the examples that I use as like the art, the intersectionality of it, where like prison is meeting society, and like how it doesn't really make sense. When people see the fucking lighter, they're like,
they're fascinated
"What the fuck
by
is
it.
this?" You know? Yeah,
They're fascinated.
they're probably
full
having the
of
same
questions.
reaction that I had when I first saw it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I remember always sticking those pencil leads in the fucking socket and popping that bitch, and you got your little wick right there. You know what I mean?
Like that.
You light that shit up, and you know what I mean? And it blew my mind too, bro. You know what I mean? When I first went in when I was 18 years old. I got two numbers, J94506, T891010 something 269747 from Arizona. I got, you know, three numbers or whatever, bro. But you learn the art of prison life, how to function, you know, how to work with what you got, you know, how to break. Art is breaking the rules in prison and getting what you want somehow, some way. I mean, everything could be looked at as art. I mean, you explained some art pieces that you have put out there, you know, that blow the average Joe's mind, because they're like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, I mean, you literally need to be right there to explain to them the definition of your art piece, right? You know, it's really fascinating. The world is fascinated by the prison life. They're fascinated by individuals like yourself, with stories like yourself. I mean, I try not to box myself into prison podcasts. I've been doing them a little here and there more than usual because it's a slippery slope, and I don't want to ever slip on that slope, if you know what I'm saying. You know, but at the same time too, a lot of homies that I know that I have on, they have this background, and everybody's story is unique. It comes from the same place, but everybody tells their story differently, and they've experienced similar situations, but interpreted in their way, you know. And the world is fascinated by anything to do with fucking prison, you know. Do I want to be labeled a prison channel? Fuck no, you know. But my thing is to uplift individuals that have been from that background, they have been from that environment, and to show the world that these dudes are more than just a caged fucking animal, and we have more to offer than just caged animalistic ways, so to speak. You know what I mean? I'm not the best. I may not be painting the picture right with this, bro, but you get what I'm saying, and I'm sure everybody else does right here, you know. After this podcast that I have with you, that I will venture off into other areas of life with other individuals, you know. But it's really fascinating, and it is art, bro. You know what I mean? Art is not necessarily paintbrush to canvas or pencil to paño, pen to paño. You know what I mean? You know, it's in a lot of different ways. Like I can take my shirt off. You know what I mean? And this is art, human art. You know what I mean? You know, tattoos. You know, fucking. You know, it's people are fascinated by it, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, and the average Joe, they see that lighter, they see that prison shank, and they're like, bro, like, what did you make that out of? You know, you know, is that really a big pen, or is that really a toothbrush, or is that really some rolled up newspaper that you just rolled and rolled until it got hard, and you put a point on it and made it a spear out of that shit? You know what I mean? Like, you know, the ink, you know, the soot, you know what I mean? The baby oil, you know, we put
I have a video where like I give you instructions on how to make tattooing. And yeah, with the baby oil in the bag, you put the bag over it, and then it's just like you collect the soot. It's just like those are things.
That's art.
Like
you should do something. Have you done something like that with art? Like
yeah,
I mean,
I made an instructional video on that, on how to do that, and I've made like a performance piece where like I brought these pieces like a CD player, a portable CD player, and some tape. These are all things that you can get in prison, right? Tape, the CD player, inside, if you break a CD player, inside of it, the thing that causes the CD to spin is a little motor, and that's a tattoo motor right there. To me, it's like that's fucking money right there. Like, you know, I learned how to make tattoo motors, and so like my performance was me showing you how to do it, and you know, a lot of people will be like, oh, that's you know, how's that art? It's like it's just the fact that people, like, the way I learned it was by someone else kind of instructing me how to do it. And for me, the real art is in that, like the oral histories that we know of each other from being in these places. The art. Like, you don't get like paper instructions. No. You got to get a homie to show you how to do it.
No, the art is in how you learn how to do that shit.
Yeah, that's the art right there.
You want to learn this art? Go catch a case, my G. You know what I mean?
Yes,
you
exactly.
Come on over here to this cell, motherfucking whoop-de-whoop-whoop, and we're going to teach you how to fucking make a stinger. You know what I mean? We're going to, you know.
Stinger, yeah. Those are all like little bits of knowledge that you can only learn by being in there. You know, besides that, you would never probably ever learn that. For no reason. Like, why would you learn that out here? Like, those are things that you learn in there because you need to learn them, because that's how you survive.
You know what, bro? My biggest, I don't know if the word is attribute, but the biggest thing that I try to put out there, bro, is how to get away, how to evolve, how to grow and uproot yourself from this cycle. You know, I give my respect to the homies that won't ever see the light of freedom again. I love you, motherfuckers. You know, I'm gonna keep your head up. You know, stay strong. And if there's ever anything I can do, send you a book or whatever, I got you. You know, and I do that to this day with my boys. You know what I mean? I send money, bro. You know what I mean? Oh, you got something? You guys got a pizza fucking thing cracking off? Bam! Don't trip. Whoop! Got you. You know, I really try to like show the love because I know how it feels, you know, and I don't ever want to go back to that feeling, but I feel for the ones, I got a heart, bro, you know what I mean? And I feel for the ones that are still going through that struggle, and some cats made that one mistake and they don't get that second chance. I've gotten multiple chances. I've been fortunate, you know, but my biggest thing is to get us out of that cycle, you know. Grow from that. And when I heard of you, you know what I mean, I was like, all right, we got to get the homie on, we got to get Derty on here, you know, because what you have done with yourself, bro, you have elevated yourself, you went against the odds, you know what I mean, the Las Vegas odds, bro, you know what I mean, you know, you put your money down, bro, and you got that money back, you know. It's hard for people to do what you do. It's hard for people to do what I've done, you know what I mean? Progressing, right? You know, I mean, what is the biggest key factor, bro? You know what I mean? That you need to do to get where you're at in your life from where you came from?
Like right off the bat, like I guess what I would really say is that I didn't do it on my own. You know, I chose to do this. But to get here and to get to UCLA and to get into whatever places are next, I didn't do it on my own. You know, I'm part of a student organization called the Underground Scholars Initiative, and it's a student org that was created and founded by people that had been locked up. It started in UC Berkeley, and now it's in UCLA. It's at UCSB. It's at UC Irvine. It's at Merced. It's at Santa Cruz.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
I see it, babe. My little love's right there. And then the little,
Yeah.
it's cold right now, so they got that full pajamas with the feet on them. You know what I mean? I remember when I was a kid, dog. You know what I mean?
Onesies.
The whole the onesie, the whole pajama suit zips up, and you got your feet. I remember when I was a kid, man. I remember I'd fucking run holes in those motherfuckers, dog. You know what I mean?
Toes would be sticking out.
Toes would be sticking out them PJs and shit, dog. You know what I mean? But this is the love. This is the art of doing what I do here at the crib. You know what I mean? Sooner or later, I'll get it out of the crib, but. Sometimes when we doing these podcasts, I got my little ones that pop in and they want to show daddy the slime or whatever they're doing, but they, you know, it's. I love life, bro. How much do you love life, bro?
Yeah, I love life. That's excellent.
I mean, how much do you love the life you're living now, opposed to the life that you're, you know, you got past? I mean, when we were living that life, we actually loved that life, right? We actually love that life. Like this is what it is. You know what I mean? This is, you know, this is what this life is that we're living. You know, and we loved it and we did it the best we can do it. You know, and now we're living another life and we're saying, you know what, we love this more. And we're gonna do this the best we can do this right here.
Yeah. So back in the day, like I loved fucking up. That's the main thing. Like you get into this habit of loving to fucking. The more fuck ups you do, the better. Like for me, like the authenticity factor was through the roof. Like back in the day, I was like a big tagger too. You know, shout out to all the homies that that I got into that kind of like shit with, you know, my boy Colt 45, you know, Psych, you know, like taggers, you know, I was a tagger, you know, I like doing that shit, I like doing graffiti shit, but I had to like steal the paint, you know, otherwise it wasn't authentic, you know. If I was gonna do drugs, I wanted to buy the whole ounce. That way I wouldn't have to keep coming to your ass and shit to fucking keep buying your dope. Like I'll fucking buy the whole thing and now I get it cracking. You know, like for me, it was just like it needed to get deep. You know, and after you're having like 1 ounce of coke, now you need to fucking have 4. Now you need to have 9. Now you want the whole brick. I need the whole brick now and shit. I don't know why I need it, but I needed all of it. You know, and I love just like getting in my own way, and that's like I think a lot of people have that issue where like you can't stop like sabotaging yourself. You know, and that's one of the things that I think I learned, like not like to stop doing. Is like can you like get beside yourself and really look at yourself from like that neutral perspective where you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? I think a lot of homies can't get outside of the life that they're living in and really look at their life like
fear
from the perspective of like. Even like you're out, almost like you're outside of your body, and you're like, look at this fucking homie right here. He's fucking up. He's got resources. He got some shit going on, but he's deciding to keep fucking up because he thinks that shit's real or whatever. You know, for a while, like that's just how I felt. I felt like the more crimes I did, the more real I was.
I mean, the more crimes you committed, the more stripes and the more respect you get from your peers, the surroundings. You know what I mean? Fucking Derty. Derty's crazy. Derty a fool. I can't believe Derty did that shit. Hey, did you hear about the homie Derty? Whoa,
exactly.
whoa, whoa.
That kind of
you know
shit. You start getting caught up in that shit.
That right there would just pump your chest up on me. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, yeah, homie, I'm that motherfucker, dog. You know what I mean? And you know what, dog? Right now, I pump my chest up right now to this.
Yeah.
I see you, boo boo. Tell mom to come over here. Tell mama to come over. Oh yeah. Hold on a second. Hey, you guys, give me 1 second, real quick. Hold on, real quick. Go ahead and answer some questions, real quick, though.
Dang, I can't read that form.
Probably a little hard. It's hard a little bit.
Anyone got a? There's a lot of comments. Yeah, he went to he has kids, you know. But I'm kind of reading your comments, like, thank you guys for all coming out and listening to it on this weekend. I know this is like a crazy weekend. Oh, it said, did I take Chicano theater at UCLA? I didn't. I didn't take Chicano theater. I kind of wish I did, but I didn't. I took a lot of like studio classes, which is just kind of like painting, photography, drawing, sculpture, ceramics. A lot of people are like, ceramics? What the fuck is ceramics? Yeah, you make shit out of clay. I'm trying to find just like questions, but thank you guys for all the comments. But really, like the whole talk was like, it's just like a positive vibe, you know. I'm not out here to like glorify any type of lifestyle, you know. If anything, I'm here to glorify kind of the student lifestyle. That's what I am. I'm a student now. You know, for a long time, I felt like I wasn't gonna be shit. I felt like, you know, you're a fucking criminal, you're a gangbanger, you're a drug dealer, and that's all you're gonna be. And when you get out of prison, you're just gonna be back to more of the same. You know, for a long time, I felt that like that was life, and that's all there was, and that's all that there was ever gonna be. But yeah, thanks to art, and thanks to education, like I started getting on this other path where like I just knew that I could do it. And when you're growing up, you know, as a Chicano, as even like, you know, a black man, black woman, Chicana, Chicanx, you start getting in your mind that everything that you see around you is all that there's gonna be, and so you might as well make the best out of that. And you so you end up like doing all kinds of shit that you might regret later. You know, like a lot of shit, like, you know, a lot of people say like, oh well, you know, I don't live with regrets. You know, I don't regret nothing. But you know, a lot of times, like the only thing that kept me going in life was regrets. Regretting all the fucked up shit I did. You know, for a long time, all I would do is take. I would take and take and take. You know, and all it got me was a prison sentence. You know, the money that I got from, you know, the crimes that I did, it wasn't worth it. You know, there was this like statistic where like it said like a drug dealer actually makes less money than a person that works at McDonald's full time. You know, because you're not calculating the time that you're gonna get once you get caught dealing those drugs. And the person at McDonald's, you're just gonna keep working and eventually become a manager, and you know, eventually like become like the supervisor of the district, shit like that. You know, you don't think like that while you're growing up. Everything's kind of like in the moment. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, though.
And a lot, and you know, the one thing that I will say about prison is that, you know, if it wasn't for prison, I might not be at UCLA. You know, I might be dead. I might be like even worse than I ever was. Like, you know, I don't want to thank prison for that, but at the same time, I don't. You know, it's like this thing that like had to happen. And you know, I'm a big believer in fate and destiny, and that things happen for a reason. And I'm also like a big believer, and it's gonna sound like corny as fuck, you know, cheesy as fuck, but I feel like art can, you know, change the world.
What is?
Yeah.
I got a question for you. What is a so you're getting a bachelor's degree in fine arts?
Yeah.
What does that do for you, bro?
That's a really good question. You know, so far I've been like, you know, I've had some success. This summer I had a residency. It's called a residency, where like this gallery, galleries in downtown LA. It's called Tiger Strikes Asteroid, and the gallery was offering their space to somebody to use it to make art. And I applied, and you know, I got it. They let me use their space, their gallery for like 3 months, 2 months. For 2 months, rent free. You know, like I can go over there. It's like kind of, you know, I took full control of it. and I was making artwork and stuff like that. But you know, as the time went by, people started coming around. You know, like art collectors, you know, curators, people from museums, and then just little by little, you know, people started showing a little bit of interest. You know, they hear about like kind of my life and what I do and how I make my art, and they're interested, and so like kind of doors open up right there. That's actually kind of hard to do. I'm very fortunate that, you know, it happened early because it, you know, most people start getting into residency, stuff like that after they get a master's degree. So I'm, you know, I caught it a little bit earlier while I'm still getting a bachelor's, but so that's kind of like one thing that's called like kind of like being like a working artist, where like you're not really, how can I say, you're not really like you're not really getting into like commercial art. You're more like trying to get into like museums and art galleries, fine art galleries, where like, you know.
I mean, what is your goal, bro? What is your goal that you're aiming towards with this bachelor's degree in fine arts and you know, everything that you're trying to tackle? So
Yeah, the goal right now is to be like a working artist, where like you're getting into museums and galleries and art exhibits and stuff like that. Like that, they don't have the saying like starving artists for no reason. Like you don't make a lot of money until you maybe make a sale or something like that.
So you're trying to sell your pieces, and that potentially you would be able to live off of that, huh?
Maybe, hopefully.
Hopefully.
What actually I do that leaves more money is I do tattoos. Now tattoos is something that, you know, that's like very steady. You know, I get a steady flow of people, and I wish I can tattoo on more people right now. But I'm going to school. It's full time. It's kind of like if I were to tattoo full time, I would be like I could probably live off it. But it's just like I have like these like, and I'm not saying anything like, I'm not trying to talk shit about like tattooing. It's like fucking, you know, it's obviously fucking righteous art form, but I'm trying to like go somewhere else with it too. I'm trying to get into spaces where like our people, our gente, are usually just like the guards, you know, like there you go to like LACMA, the Los Angeles, you know, Museum of the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, and you know the only black or brown people you'll see there are the guards.
Yeah.
Like none of the curators, none of the directors, none of the managers, they don't look like us.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get into those spaces. I'm trying to get into there and create havoc and disrupt.
So when I see some of your tattoo work, bro, it reminds me of like just prison tattoos, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So are you trying to progress in your tattoo work to meet kind of like the standards that are out here with a lot of the black and gray artwork? You know what I mean? Are you no, you're not.
No.
You're trying to stay traditional to what you learned.
Well, one of the yeah, that's like something that, you know, I might have like a small beef with, you know, and I don't have nothing against like anybody, you know, I don't have like a beef with one guy or something, but just like as an industry, I think tattoos have gotten a little, you know, I guess hipster is the word, or a little mainstream.
Hollywood.
A little Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, and like it gets to a point where like you're considered good if that shit looks real or realistic, and I don't really agree with that.
Okay.
Like for example, like, you know, this other man that I did a podcast with that I had told you, you know, I'm not gonna say any names because I don't get down like that, you know.
No, it's all good. I know, homie.
You know, homie has like an arm with some badass fucking artwork, right?
Yeah.
You know, some fucking famous tattoo artist tattooed him up.
Yeah.
Then he has another arm, and you know, it's obvious like that's prison work.
Yeah.
For me, like that arm was way more authentic. Like,
Yeah.
like I can look at that arm and I know like what you're about. The other arm, I can look at him like, oh, you went to like a famous tattoo guy and probably paid a gang of money.
Yeah.
Maybe not you, but most people that you'll see with like some seriously like good looking shit probably went to like a tattoo shop and paid like a gang of money. Now I'm not saying like, you know, that's like raw. I'm not trying to knock on that shit. I'm just saying like for me that shit looks way more authentic. The authenticity is like so much more important to me like than the aesthetic, I guess the aesthetic looks of it, you know.
Yeah. So what I did with my tattoo work, bro, is I lasered both my arms off. I lasered the prison work off me. Not 100%, but about 80% of it I lasered off. Excuse me. Because it was prison work, and I felt like it wasn't up to par of what is out there, and you want to be comfortable in your own skin. You know, I got this long sleeve on right now. I'm always in tank tops and shit, dog. You know what I mean? But anyways, I lasered the prison stuff off me. Not all of it. I left some of it on, like I said, but I wanted to. It was a part of me rebuilding myself, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like I looked at myself kind of like an old school Ronfla on me. I mean, like I had to fix it up. I was a fucking beater, dog. You know what I mean? I was a fucking a G-Ride, dog. I looked like a G-Ride, homie, you know what I mean? And I had all this, like, just shit that just didn't look good, bro. You know what I mean? So I said, fuck it. I lasered it off, bro. And I have an artist that has been working on me, you know? But I get what you're saying, because I see cats that have the old school prison work on them, and I'm like, oh, that's dope. I mean, you as soon as you see it, you know what it is.
Yeah. I
mean, you see prison work and you see shop work, and you see what it is.
Yeah.
But I see some of your work, and I'm not knocking it, but you can tell that it's a prison artist, someone that learned off a Walkman motor or a CD. You know, a guitar string or a spring that they heated up and they stretch that bitch out. You know what I mean? Like I get the authenticity. I said that wrong.
The authenticity.
Authenticity of art. You know, and I just wanted a different level of artwork on me. You know, but. You don't ever like think, or like you've never been an apprentice under someone that has done more like realistic type of stuff, someone that doesn't have the background. I mean, there's some cats that have, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Some have, and what I've noticed is, I mean,
I don't mean this in no way, because I know there's so I have a homie that just got out the feds from doing 15 years, dog, in the feds, and his work is prison work, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a single needle stilo. You know what I mean? When you work with a single needle, you know what I mean? Do you work with a professional machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but I try to still keep like the same, like
the
aesthetic.
Traditional. Yeah. No. I get it. I get it, bro. So you are intentionally doing that.
Yeah. I kind of keep going with what I was doing with the prison material, the prison like equipment.
Yeah.
But
with a professional machina now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm all about like, the cleanliness, all that stuff is like it's right on with me, I just I don't know, after a while, like I can see it, like certain people, like you'll look, I'll see certain people, and like people that I would say are like kind of like hipsterish, kind of like more trendy type of people, with like these tats that look like they just got out the pen, right? A little better, but it's still like it's like where'd you get that style from? And that for me, that's where it's at. It's just like
where it originates from, the respect. Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes a lot of like Hollywood people or like, more mainstream tattoo artists, they kind of like forgot. They forgot where they got that style from. It's like, oh no, this is like a style we have now. It's like, no, man, you got that shit from prison. And
it all originates from the culture, from our culture.
Yes. And
prison culture.
And I feel like a lot of it, like you'll even see like, like I'm not really like even trying to like knock on nobody about it, but sometimes you'll see like people that never even been to prison, or people that ain't even like, you know, like Brown, you know, people that ain't even homies that are fucking like getting down, like doing some badass shit. Like, oh, this will get that. People in Europe, artists in Europe are fucking getting down with some like badass looking work, but it's just like, man, you know, I know where they got that from. You know, yeah, they're fucking badass artists, but you know.
I mean, back in the day, bro, it wasn't socially accepted the way it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's just like everybody and their mom has a tattoo now.
Yeah, police officers,
some
everybody.
sick ass black and gray, and it's a lot. It's a lot for me, and it's just a lot. It's
you got prison work on you?
Yeah.
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 Let's check it out. What you got, dog?
All right, hold
you
on.
mind?
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. Let me. Can I use the bathroom?
Yeah, go ahead,
Let me
bro.
use the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'll come back naked for you.
Hey, shout out to everybody. Fried eggs, Dirt. What up, my G? I see you, dog. Frank, Navarro. What up? Hey, I see my boy from Clanton right there. What up, homie? Everybody that's tapped in right now. I know. So I know my energy has been fucked up, but I swear to you guys, man, I'm fucking just dead tired from the shit that I've been doing. I know I skipped a week last week, and but I got some good podcasts coming. My school is Carlos. What up? I see you, my G. Take a shot. I'm gonna take a shot right now, dog. What up, Deffer? We gotta get Deffer on. Hey, he's a badass artist, bro. We gonna get him on. But next Saturday I got fucking Tony A the Wizard coming on, and we gonna talk some shit, and my energy is gonna be good. I promise you guys. You know what I mean? Because I don't got no school next week. Only UCLA I go to school for one night. You know what I mean? But I swear to you guys, man, I stretched myself out really thin. You know what I mean? I stretched myself out thin with I go to 2 different schools, and I work, you know, as an electrician in the union, and we just been on the underground shit. Just like, I've been fucking just working so hard because I'm getting ready to journey out next year. So I'm trying to get my place with this company I'm in. But I really stretched myself out thin, and I felt like mentally I've been spent. You know what I mean? Like just tired as fuck. I've been so fucking tired with everything that I'm doing, man. And I'm gonna correct that next weekend. Bring the fucking energy. Tony A the Wizard. We gonna fucking pop this shit off crazy style. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a fun fucking podcast. I promise you guys. You know what I mean? Miguel, what up, G? I'll see you. Yeah. So the homie. Watch out.
Put the yard down right
Oh damn! Yard down! Yard down! Okay. Yeah, you got, so that's all prison work right there, huh? Boo boo, hold on, baby. Let me do this right here, babe.
Yeah, I've never gotten a tattoo outside of prison.
So let's talk about some of the work you got right here, bro.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You got Aztec, you got your back done too, or what?
So you got a validation point right there.
Did you get a validation point for that? Okay. Yeah.
No, I didn't, because they never ran like a validation packet on me, but you could. Like even something simple like that, like you're just representing your culture, you can get a validation point for that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, let me see. I got a Máquina 501 right there, that's the train that, you know, Pancho Villa used to, you know, smash on the government during, you know, the Mexican Revolution.
Yeah.
One of his fighters, Pancho Villa had a lot of women fighters that they call the elitas in his regiment. You know, a lot of like, you know, stuff like Mexican culture, but a lot of it also had to do with just the guy that did most of my work. Shout out to Raton from Monteflores, who's probably like 65. If you out there, get at me, homie. But yeah, a lot of it was just like, I really liked his art, and I said, let's just do whatever you want on me, and this is what he did.
That's dope, though.
For me, that's something that I would love people to do, A lot of times people got, very specific things, what they want. For me, I'm just like, I really like your art. Do whatever you want on me. Just don't put a big dick on my arm.
Yeah. You don't ever want a big dick on your arm, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, it's a violation right there. Hey, we gonna Strap Nasty is we gonna see what's up with Strap Nasty. I see you guys asking about him and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, bro. I mean, moving forward, dog. You how long have you been out for?
I've been out 4 years now.
4 years now, bro.
Paroled in 2016, May 2016.
What did it say? Shout out to John McHugh. Appreciate another donation, bro. My great great grandfather was Pancho's close friend. Damn, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy shit right there. I mean, I'm waiting on Bozo. I talked to Bozo a couple of times. I mean, we're gonna get it cracking sooner or later. I mean, we'll get it cracking. I mean, but nah, dog, this has been dope, bro. You know what I mean? What's up with that one Trece right there, that shirt? Who makes that shirt, bro?
Man, I forgot who made this shirt. My homeboy, JP, who's probably in the comments right now, just drop the name of the homie who makes these shirts. He's like a homie from Palmdale.
Okay.
He makes these shirts. I forgot his name because I got this shirt from the homie JP. Shout out to my boy JP from the Goleta projects, who when I got out, he was one of the.
I think it's Neil Tazad that makes those, no?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not sure.
Fried eggs, Derty. I've seen him put that. I've seen him post that shit right there too. Get Bad Boy from yeah. But yeah, so the life you used to live and the life you live now was night and day, brother. And you shining, you fucking you live. I mean, 4 years, bro. How long did it take you to get that bachelor's degree, bro?
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Well, as soon as I paroled in 2016, maybe a week later, I was already enrolled at a community college.
Damn, you're still fresh out, bro.
Yeah.
4 years is still fresh out. Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like it's a while, and then sometimes I look at it like, man, it hasn't been that long. I haven't even been able to discharge my number yet. I got off of parole though. Last year I got off of parole, but I haven't been able to discharge the number yet. So when I got accepted to UCLA, my probation officer was like, you can't go. Like you on parole still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I just got accepted at UCLA. What are you talking about?
Did you vote this year, bro?
I voted this year, yeah. When I first got out, I wasn't able to vote. And when I got out, one of the Judas told me at the gate, he's like, if you were to bet on who's going to win, and if you lost, you were coming back, who was it going to be? And I told him Hillary Clinton. I was like, oh shit, dude, I'm gonna go back any minute right now. Yeah. Because she didn't win, but I thought she was gonna win. I don't know, a woman president, I don't have no problem with that.
What's your worst memory and your best memory?
Well, I don't know.
In life,
there's too many good memories. Getting out, that feeling you get when that gate's coming open. Really happening, that was a big one. Then getting those handcuffs slapped on you, when the Huda came in and he said these two guys, they said that you were there, and they said that you fucking told them something, that you told them not to say shit. You're under arrest for murder. That was a big one, but I don't think it was as big as the one where I'm going, I'm cuffed up going from Ironwood to the county of Indio, to get more charges put on me for just taking some fool off of the yard who now he ended up locking it up. He doesn't even fucking mean anything. But to me, he meant 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he meant to me. Like, so he didn't mean nothing, you know? Maybe like to other homies, he's just like a piece of shit or whatever. To me, that fool meant 8 years. Like, you know, that fucks with me. You know? And it's just like, you know what, like, fuck, like, watch what you do, you know? Like,
I mean, did you have a choice in that matter?
in a way, no. I ended up getting caught up in some like this thing where like, no.
You had to handle that.
Yeah, I had to handle my shit, or, you know, in my mind, you know, like you always have a choice. That's another thing too that a lot of homies, especially younger homies, when they get to prison, they don't realize, or they end up realizing it later on, like me, where like you have a choice. You can say no, you know, you can ask questions. It's on the weed lots, you know. I seen them myself. Like you can ask questions and you can say no, you know. And not only are fools gonna understand, but they're gonna respect you for keeping it real, you know. And a lot of times you don't think that, because, you know, in my mind, like, oh, I'm a Sureño, I'm never gonna say no, you know. I got my hand raised like fucking 24/7 whenever for whatever, you know. But at the same time, as you spend more time, you know, in there, you start realizing like, yeah, I got my hand raised, but that's not raised for you. You know, some fools got fucked up missions. You're just gonna be like, nah, man. You know, what's in it for me? You know.
Yeah.
Some fools don't even shoot like, you know, at least shoot me like 3 papers so I can take care of myself when I get to the back or something. Yeah. You know, like, and you know, you don't realize that until you're a little older, because the new guys, that's the fucked up part, and that's where like prison gets like this, like, that's where the whole idea of like it's predators and prey, where like the prey is not really like the victims that are getting fucked up. The prey are the homies that are getting convinced that they have to do something, you know, and they don't. You know, you have the right to ask questions, and you have the right to say no if you feel that the mission is not, you know, it's not you.
Not fit for you.
Yeah.
100%. Or you can be like, whoever's asking you to go do this, hey, well, if you're going to go with me.
Exactly. Like, why are you asking me? Like, you hardcore motherfucker that's running the yard. Like, what, you don't want to do it? Come with me and let's do it. And then, you know, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, well, I can't, homie. And it's just like, this fucking guy right here.
I can't either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%, dog. I mean, on our way out of this podcast, bro, any messages you'd like to put out there, and anything you'd like to promote, any shout outs, all the above, bro. Go ahead and shoot that right now.
Yeah, man, I want to give a shout out to the Underground Scholars Initiative. If you guys feel that you have a loved one, or if you yourself have been thinking about getting back into education and you don't know how, or you need help, you go on Instagram and go to Underground Scholars Initiative at UCLA, Underground Scholars Initiative at Berkeley, at Irvine. A bunch of stuff is going to pop up when you type in Underground Scholars on that search. Hit that search. You know, get if it's your people, that's cool. And even if you're like system impacted, so like what system impacted means is that you have a loved one in prison. You know, your mom is in prison, your dad is in prison, your husband. You're doing that time with them. You know, you always hear that. You know, you always hear that like that you're not doing your time alone. You know, you always got somebody out there, you know, putting money on your books, sending you mail. Those people are doing the time with you, you know, and for me, that's what's called system impacted. They've been directly impacted by the criminal justice system. Those people are also students, and those people are also underground scholars. You know, get at us. Another person I want to thank is JP Ramirez, my homie, my carnal. You know, Goleta Projects. He's one of the. He when I got out, he was the guy that took me to the community college You know, and at the time I was just like, I'm not gonna go, dog. Fuck this shit. You know, I was scared. You know, like fuck that shit. I'm not gonna do it. I'm cool. He's like, fuck that. You're coming and shit. You know, and he took me down. I met some people, and eventually got me on the road to where I'm at now. So for that, I'm like highly thankful. Big shout out to the big homie. You know, my carnal Hoser from the projects. You know, that's everyone's big homie. If you guys are from the barrio and you haven't put money on his books yet, go put some money on his books, you know? Like, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see some artwork that he has. He does art too. He does acrylic paintings, some badass acrylic paintings. Like, they're for sale. Get some money on his books, you know, help the homie out. Yeah, and last but not least, my wife, Christy, and my son, Jacob. I love you. You guys are my life, so...
Oh yeah, dog. Shout out, love to your family, dog. Real quick, I seen a question right here. Is the Earth flat? Is the Earth flat?
Come on, man, that shit ain't flat. Go on a plane.
There it is. There. Hey, I want you all to give it up for the homie Derty, Goleta, Projects, 805 area. Yeah. Stand the fuck up. Hey, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Love, respect. We out of here.